exciting.
That's you, Zahra.
It is me. Welcome to Between Two Peers, a live stream show where the hosts invite a guest from around the known world to answer your pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. I am clearly filling in for Sassy this week. I will channel her as best I can. This week is sponsored by iced coffee because Fortune is a New Englander, and through her veins runs the frosty goodness of Dunk's iced coffee. In all seasons, in all weather, iced coffee. I am Zahra. I am from the Mid-Realm. I got vaccinated today, and I am super excited to be here.
Well, and I'm Helga. Y'all know me. I am a knight, a pelican, and a royal peer from the West Kingdom, and I'm super excited to see all my friends getting vaccinated. I'm like in the low bracket, so I'm just gonna cheerlead all you fuckers on for a while while I wait my turn. But I'm really, really excited to see that because that means we get to get back together and in person sooner rather than later. So, yes. And tonight, our amazing guest, very excited, she agreed to be on the show, is Countess Fortune from the East. Fortune, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Countess Fortune St. Keyne. I'm from the beautiful Shire of Quintavia in the East Kingdom, which is Worcester, Massachusetts. I am a rose and all-around shenaniganator.
We're going to test that tonight.
Ooh.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to roll us into the drinking game. So just a reminder, the drinking game is for whatever you want to drink. It doesn't have to be alcohol. You're welcome to play along if you like. We'll be drinking tonight. I believe I've got iced coffee, cider, and water. So whatever floats your boat. So drink whenever a host or guest uses a non-SCA name when referring to somebody else on the show. Drink when somebody's pet appears on camera. Also, I will totally drink if we hit over 100 likes, because then I got to show the doggo. Drink when somebody calls for a soapbox, or the audience calls us on a soapbox. Drink when somebody mentions spite sprinkles or toe beans. And what is the guest rule of the evening?
All right, so what I do mundanely is I am a corporate trainer for a large investment bank. Primarily, I've been working for the last couple months with our call center, and specifically on verbal crutches, like which is, I can see what's happening now. I can see what that face is. And as I decided in the intro, I'm going to focus on my own verbal crutch, which is starting sentences with, okay, so, and going into something. So if I do that, that's going to be a drink.
Okay, so let's, we can do that.
All right, so.
So tonight we're going to start off with the guest-specific questions. Zahra, would you like to begin?
Absolutely. I'm just going to hold this because I feel like we're going to be real drunk real quick. But Fortune, tell us how you found the SCA.
Oh, well, it involves spite. It's a big thing involving spite. So I was involved with the Renaissance Fair community in New England. And I had just started at Joanne Fabrics with this new girl. Her name is Baroness Simona Botleone now. She had a friend whose stepbrother was this baron of this Stone March place. She kept trying to get me to go to events. And so I finally went to Great Northeastern War out of spite. I had one outfit. I had a steel-boned Elizabethan corset and a couple linen skirts, and we went up there and I got heat stroke, blisters, sunburn, and a love of the SCA that has not ended. I absolutely had the time of my life going to an event to prove to her that these SCA people were real mean, and they were going to be real mean to me, and I didn't want to know them. And I love them. They're my friends now.
That's awesome. All right, so the next question is from the hosts to the guest. Tell us about the Courtesans Guild.
Sure. Known World Courtesans, KWC. We are one of my absolute favorite things about the SCA. There are sort of two things that the KWC does. We work on researching historical sex work, sex in period, any of the naughty bits in history that have been sort of taken out or cut out by the Victorians, we're trying to put back in. Second thing that we do, sometimes it feels like we are reteaching the entire SCA about consent and trying to work on creating consensual interactions in the SCA and supporting also modern sex workers. We are inclusive of all gender identities, all personas, all people, but we do have some very strict rules about not being whorephobic, not being sexist, not being racist. And it is one of the most delightfully rewarding groups I've been part of. It sort of started out in this, we're at Penzic in this, they had put us in the smallest, dustiest, most cramped, hottest ANS tent they could possibly, it was like the ANS closet. And it was a bunch of us talking about courtesan personas. There's like 4 or 5 of us. And it finally came out like, you know what, I just really want a support group. Like, I feel like I'm the only courtesan persona in my entire kingdom. And it'd be real nice if I had a support group. And it grew into this known world courtesan thing. And now we have members across the known world. We have a huge active group at Atlantia. They're the East Kingdom courtesans, Meridies, Callantyre, Artemisia, North Shield. You know, we've got some out in Artemisia. We've got some out in Atenvelt. It's really amazing. I think we actually have somebody in Locock now. It's an amazing group, and I love seeing that it's a safe space for so many people who I think previously in the SCA had been sort of pushed to the fringes.
Follow up on that. If somebody is interested in learning more about the Courtesans Guild, how do we find them?
You really want to go on Facebook. You want to go into the Known World Courtesan Study and Support Group. You want to answer the questions, please answer the questions. As I'm one of the admins, please answer the questions. You want to go into the Known World Courtesan Study and Support Group. We also have an Instagram. We also have Twitter. We also have a page where we put information out. But that's really where, on a Pinterest page, you really want to get into that study and support group on Facebook. Introduce yourself. We're a great time.
Nice.
I love
All
it.
right, with that.
Oh, yeah. And the mid. We have the mid. They're very nice. And I'm sorry because I love them. Nah, no. Arrivals are, on tier now.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I love all of the different things that the Courtesans Guild does, all the salons that they put on at events and stuff. It's really cool. People should definitely check it out. Okay, so related from Antonio, we have what is it like being a member of the Courtesans Guild while also being a royal peer? Like, is there any juxtaposition that you find yourself doing because of that combination?
No. And very specifically, when I approached it, I said there wouldn't be any. I might walk that back slightly, but when I don't think it's any surprise to those of you who know me and know Ozzer, it was a bit of a surprise when we won Crown Tournament. I had every anticipation of, we'd be Miss Congeniality and hello everyone. We brought snacks. And then he won. And I had friends from other kingdoms who were very concerned for me and reaching out and said, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because in the past, there has been a lot of pushback and a lot of othering of courtesan personas and a lot of, oh my God, I can't believe what she does. And I said very publicly, I trust my people and I trust my kingdom. And I trust that people know who I am. And so there was no walking back, there was no hiding who I was and what my persona was while I was princess into queen. That being said, when you step up and you are the crown for everyone. So there were certain things like it is your job to make everyone comfortable. And I did not want to impose on someone else's SEA experience and make them uncomfortable in any way. So I didn't want to harsh anybody else's SCA mellow, is basically how I looked at it during the time. So I still went to the Bacchanal. As queen at Penzic, I was at the Bacchanal on my chaise watching the oiled up glitter wrestlers, having the time of my life. But I wasn't, going to force that down the throat of my populace as a whole. Probably a bad phrase there, but whatever, we're going with it.
We don't do phrasing on this show.
Oh, good.
I was about to say that counts as the first dick joke of the night.
Someone needs to be keeping a tally. Baby Ninja, this is your job.
I would like to note he is loading a tally right now on his phone. All right, so with that, you ready for the next question?
I'm ready.
This one comes from Andromica. Did I get that right? I think I got that right. What is the weirdest sexual tradition / taboo that you've come across in your research?
I might have peeked on the Between Two Peers server at my questions. Yeah. Sorry, the cat got on the screen. Okay, so over the summer I have a book club. I call Sex Book Club. We read different books about sex and period. We started out with A Curious History of Sex by Dr. Kate Lister. We then went on to The History of Orgies, which we did not get through because it was written in the 50s and is very much of its time. But there was a portion where we learned that Macedonian orgies had a scent, which was roses and thyme, which I think having a specific perfume for your orgies is a real extra step that we need to incorporate more.
I have so many questions about roses and thyme. I mean, that's also like the Roman writings where they're like, there has to be a goat for it to be an orgy. It doesn't say if you're eating the goat or if the goat's involved. Like,
nope.
That text is just left out. It's this weird piece of like, okay, what is the goat doing? Is this goat still like, it is literally just mentioned like, this is a requirement to class this as an orgy in a specific time period. And it's like, it doesn't say what is occurring with that four-hoofed item.
The goat likes to watch.
Yeah, just fucking creeper goat.
Yeah. All goats are creeper goats.
Like, for reals, that one is just, ooh, like, I've known,
That's
like,
bad. You get like 15 of your closest friends and you're like, Jerry, you were supposed to bring the goat.
Yeah, I know, like,
there's no goat.
You're super put out. There's no goat. Well, it can't be a real orgy now. Apparently, this is just, we're hanging out with movies. Somebody forgot the goat.
Wrap it up.
Take away the roses and thyme. It's not worth.
No.
I'm so disappointed right now. I came here for an orgy. There's no goat. There's some rosemary and thyme. I brought that. I brought my nice underwear. Like, there's hand-stitched linen. And now we're going to go from here. You are leaving me.
I have 3
rosemary or
olive oil. What are we going to do with that?
So I have to know, Fortune, is it rosemary or is it roses? Because one, I'm like, we making a roast?
It is rose and thyme.
Yeah, they're making a roast. Somebody at that point, now we know what's going on with the goat.
Yes. Only Macedonian goats, though.
Yeah, only Macedonian goats.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we've had a really weird rabbit hole about that one.
Yes, are we ready for the next question?
I love this next question.
Okay. So slight quick backstory. First time I met Fortune, which you probably don't remember at all, I went dashing up and was like, "You're the reason I have Roman garb." So let's talk garb. I want you to tell us about your blog and how you do all the patterning for the big ass titties. Important.
I like how Fortune's like, I'm not sure I signed up for this.
And yet here she is.
I came here to talk about sex, not garb. I, being of the big titty persuasion, that being the theme of this evening, have found it difficult to find traditional garb that does justice to the tracts of land. And so I've had to seek out alternative things, and I have had to use my Pinterest skills, which are legion. I have something like 60,000 pins on Pinterest. And so I've gone through, yeah, it's a problem. I was an early adopter. I have gone through all these different patterns, and I found this one set. I think it's A Cloth of Stars is the person who did it originally, but a beautiful drapey Roman outfit. I specifically, this is why I didn't do the other verbal crutches. My career started out Joanne Fabrics. Everyone had to work for the evil empire at some point. I then went on and worked for a local fabric chain, went to my first Penzic, came back and found out the entire chain was going under, along with, yeah, aforementioned Baroness Simone Batleone. But I am a fabric snob now, and I have to touch fabric, which has been very hard in the pandemic, because people are like, oh, just order it online. Like, no, I got to touch it. I got to see how it drapes. So I found that Rand Shalley, for me, for Roman, drapes best. I think it drapes best. It feels more to me like the lightweight wool they would have used. I can't use wool. And I found different ways to drape a chiton and to drape the stola that goes over it through looking at various other people's blogs and things and just trial and error. And I was like, I can't keep this to myself. I must share this with the other big tittied ladies. They must know these ways. Because every time I went to an event and they had a class that was like, how to dress in garb for bigger ladies, it was always, wear Byzantine. You'll enjoy your blingy tent. Cover your shameful body. Cover it. Get it away. No one's allowed to see it. Like, how to wear the biggest, ugliest potato sack, but put bling on it. Which is ironic that I went on to be the wardrobe mistress for Brendan Keelan, who wanted Byzantine. I had to wrap my head around, like, Byzantine can be pretty. It can be pretty. We can do this. Because I had been shoved down my throat so many times of like, just wear a large tea tunic the size of a circus tent and pretend that you're not fat, ugly, and shameful. And I was like, I'm not fat, ugly, and shameful. I refuse. And especially the time period that I try to do, which is the 1520s and 30s, they loved a bigger lady. And so you look at the portraits and you're like, they look awesome. How do I do that? It involves learning to pattern, but when I find these things, I have to share them because I don't want anyone else to have to go to classes where they're being told, no, put yourself in a sack. You can't be with the pretty ladies. You're all pretty. Everyone deserves to be pretty and show off the tatas.
I would like to note that I'm just going to be your anger translator there for a moment. Everybody is pretty. Motherfuckers. So with that, we've already got comments asking for both your Pinterests and your blog. Would you be willing to post a link there or send a link in and we can get it posted in the comments for people?
Yeah, so I'm at gildedkisses.com is the blog, and my Pinterest is under my own name, Fortune St. Keyne. So I will get you links later. Yep.
Give me links. We'll post it up on the Between Two Peers Discord and get people hooked up that way. Also, we can later on add it to the description of this YouTube. Get you out there. You're famous. Actually, I'm pretty sure that you're dragging a bunch of people over here, so like you're helping us. So,
East
all right,
Kingdom
ready for the next question?
Delight.
You ready for the next question?
I am.
So this one comes from Petrona. Tell us about a time you were overcome with pride or emotion during your reign. Go ahead, brag about your people.
I had the best people. Like, I seriously had the best people. And I saw this question. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Part of the joy of reigning with someone that you're not in a romantic relationship with is, one, you don't have to argue about who's going to do the laundry or who's going to do the dishes at the same time. And two, we were also in different households. So I got the best of his household. So I was with Ozzer, the boot giver, and he was in VDK, Von Drakenklowy. I got the best of those folks. And I have my own household, House Strangeways, and I got the best of those folks. And then I pulled, because I had been working on Royal Reigns pretty intensely for the 2-3 years leading up to it. And we had the best team. And we had such joy. There was always joy at events. So when we were at Pennsic, like that should be in a drink. When we were at Pennsic, we were in court. And unfortunately, Ozzer's knight is Antony, or was Antony, the Rainbringer. And he did it. He brought the rain in the middle of our court. And we had to do the traditional ritual to banish the rain. Which, if you do not know what the traditional ritual to banish the rain is, it is to sing Toto's Africa 3 times. And all of a sudden, we're in the middle of court, and the rains come pouring down. And myself and Ozzer and most of our retinue ends up in the back of the royal tent, which is our dressing room, has all our clothes. Like, people are just standing there, like, with our underwear. And we are performing the ritual. And there is video of this the second time through, and it's up on YouTube. But all of us back there joyfully singing. The Thrown Weapons champion started it, by the way. They're always the instigators. Just joyfully singing Toto's Africa in this tiny space. And it was absolutely amazing. And I loved that moment. But there were so many moments where we just had the best staff ever. I had Brick, who was the captain of my guard, who was just...
Brick is a motherfucking delight.
He doesn't talk. Boy doesn't talk. But he is an absolute joy. And, you know, I had just so many people I met from sort of his side of the family, who just are such important parts of my life that, you know, there are so many points where just... I'm so proud of them. They stuck with us. And again, it was always joyful. It was not a job. It was joy. Yes. All right.
Ready for the next one?
I am.
I love it. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Also, I wish I could see just all of you gathered in this tiny space, just blessing the rains down in Africa. I love it.
Just Thrown Weapons champ is behind me, like, dun 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 dun. We're like, oh, I think we have to do it. Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
So, did someone do the drum solo? Like,
I want to say there was a drum solo. Again, there's video, and then yeah, it's great.
Okay, next question. This is from Thorfinn. The question is, there's 2. What is your strongest virtue, and what is your strongest vice?
Oh, that's interesting. So is this the Eastern Thorfinn?
Western Thorfinn.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Thorfinn the Cruel, then.
Yes.
I want to meet him. I've heard things. Yeah. All right, Thorfinn. What is my greatest virtue? I would say leadership. I came up growing up in what I refer to as the Fortune Saint's Keyne Advanced School of Nonprofit Management, in that my father worked for the Boy Scouts of America, and we lived at a Boy Scout camp the first 16 years of my life. My mother worked as a volunteer coordinator for the Worcester Public Library. I was in Girl Scouts. I was highly exposed to the Boy Scouts. I went to a congregational church, and congregational churches run on committees. And I got put on a committee in high school. My mother was on the head of the people who put people on committees committee. They're also where I learned to worship coffee. I have what they would have called, what they often called on my early report cards, a bossy personality. And it is more that I know what needs to be done, and I'm going to explain to you how you're going to do it with me. So I would say my strongest is leadership. I love running events. I love getting out there and creating an experience for people and knowing how to do that and use those tools. So virtue, I know it's not a knightly virtue. It is sort of, but it's compassionate leadership. Appreciating the people who are working with you and for you through things. Vice, I got a temper. I got a temper on me. And it will come in hot when I go. I have a lot of patience for a lot of time. Again, call center trainer. But once it goes, we have what we refer to as a no apparent reason. Like, I don't know what happened, but for no apparent reason, Fortune's screaming. So this is one of the great things of having Ozzer reigning with me, is he often would be the person who would be like, but why don't we look at it from this perspective? And he could always talk me down. When one of us, we were never both mad at a situation at the same time. One of us was always more mad than the other and could talk the other one down. So yeah.
Have those feels.
Yeah, it's extremely important. Like, yeah, you gotta have that balance.
I feel that so much, like having a temper. Like I get like weirdly, like I'm like, okay, I'm patient. And then as soon as someone else escalates, like it's on. We're going. These hands are contagious, and here's a primer on how to catch them. Like,
yeah, it. And I can make somebody cry at 10 paces, and I try to keep that inside so that I don't do it. But there are times it gets out.
I apparently have the so wrath is also my my favorite sin. And that the making somebody cry at 10 paces, I totally get that, because if you piss me off, I'll set that up for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to be like, there's the one level of fuckery that is just going to mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I often tell my coworkers, like, we don't wound with our hands here. We wound with our words.
I would pout so hard at that, because I'm just like, no. Like, I'm perfectly fine. Like, let's go. Like, this chick knows how to box. Let's fucking throw down. You'd be like, we wound with our words, and I'd just be like, that's so much more work.
Cards last longer.
that is a good point. I mean, like, I posture a lot for someone that has fought 0 people and could probably win 0 fights. But like, I feel like you just gotta put up the front, right? Like, you might get your ass kicked, but you gotta be willing to go.
And they're all just terrible.
Other people.
Are we ready for the next question?
We are.
This one comes from Elizabeth. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh. I used to think it would be to fly. I really, flying was always a thing. I was like, oh, that's what I would want to do. And I'm like, no. I would want the mystique powers of I could be anyone. I would love that. That's far more useful to be able to appear to be anyone. So I would definitely do the shapeshifter. Anyone or anything.
Nice. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
All right. This is from Thomas. So, what was your most soul-crushing project that once completed almost broke you? And then the flip, what was your most rewarding project that you have ever produced?
Oh. Soul crushing project. At Penzic, which again should have been my okay, so at Penzic, the East Kingdom got redesigned about 2 years ago. We redesigned the East Kingdom encampment to give most of the space there over to common use.
Sorry, if I'm all of a sudden making faces, I'll be right back. I forgot to close the baby gate, and my puppy is now loose in my house.
Oh no! Godspeed!
You're little black slips, right? You're not allowed to be loose in the house.
So yes, soul crushing project.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
So East Kingdom Royal got redesigned, and the head of that was Mistress Eleanor Fitzpatrick, who is an amazing human, and I love her dearly. She brought me on very early in that, and she said, I would like your household, because we are known for doing dumb large projects. I would like your household to help us. We have a space we want to set up that is a vigil chapel. So it's basically a 10 by 10 space where someone could come and have a vigil on East Kingdom Royal or any peerage that people could sign up and be able to use. Okay, we can do that. Sure. But I'm a wee bit extra. And my household is also a wee bit extra. And we get helpy. And we're also procrastinators. So it became a rush running up to Penzic to get, we decorated the outside. We found the special spray paint you have to get to put Gothic tracery on nylon because we had a pop-up we were using. And then we made silk banners. So there was a silk banner for every peerage. So we designed these silk banners that looked like stained glass windows for every peerage. We put in special things. Indications. We accidentally traced the one for the mod wrong, and so the glove on the mod one has 6 fingers. If you look closely, if you ever go into East Kingdom Road.
I would like to note that I am just going to forever count that as a 6-fingered man reference from Princess Bride.
Totally intentional. There are all sorts of little, and my ring light just went out. There are all sorts of little Easter eggs all throughout the silk banners, but creating 5 silk banners, an entire tent, 2 tables for it, a painted floor cloth, and an interior ceiling that has all the knightly virtues in gold lettering around it was a bit more than we maybe should have taken on. And when we were just finishing up the project, Simona Batleon, Baroness Simona Batleon, who's also in my household, and I were both protégé to the same pelican, who, as we were finishing this project, committed suicide. And we were dealing with those emotions and also trying to finish this project. And this is why it almost broke me, because the last thing that he ever helped out and did for us was he built the tables that are inside that vigil chapel. And I had to take them to Penzic and then set them up at his memorial. Oof. So that almost broke me. Anyway.
That question was way more brutal than it was intended to be.
Deep emotional trauma. I think that's actually the Pensic I sort of first met you, Helga. I was not at my best that peace week, and Anton was like poking the bear. He's like, Your Excellency, why aren't you wearing your coronet out? Because it's my dead pelicans, and I can't put it on yet.
Like, cause reasons.
Just reasons. I don't want to cry on it yet, so we're not going to do that.
It's okay. My first impression of you is this is a fucking awesome chick that I want to get to know better because she is sassy as fuck, but something is going on right now. So I would like to note that your first impression with me was still like, I was like, I want to know this really cool person. Seems very distracted right now, so I'm not going to fangirl at her.
I very much appreciate that because I adore you as well. And I was like, she's so cool.
I promise I'm nowhere near as cool in real life. I am kind of just a muppety mess of a human.
I think that's what we're all doing.
True.
And so what was the other half of that one?
Rewarding projects.
Rewarding. I'm going to count the entirety of Brennan and Keelan's reign doing their wardrobe. For that was the most rewarding project. It was a huge project. I didn't realize how big a project it would be when I took it on. But it was incredibly rewarding every time I got to see them come out in something that either I had put together with an artisan to create for them, or I had made for them and brought a vision to life. I got to put Brennan in hot pink, Tyrion, for his coronation, and that will forever be one of those little things of like, I got to do this. It was me. I did. And bring to that. And we coordinated with Sir Zippy to get Her Majesty Elizabeth of Aitenvelt to make them stamped garb. And when Brennan figured out that that's what he was getting Elizabeth garb, he cried at Estrella. And I was like, this is the most rewarding. Like, this is how I show my love. Make you things. That's how my love works.
Also, good God, can Liz make some stamped garb?
Right? You were teaching somebody at Estrella, and I was supposed to be somewhere else, and I just kind of like snuck in.
You're like, I'm just gonna sit over here. Like,
I'm just gonna be over here, like, with my lunch. Like, how do you do that again? No. You do. I just want to know. Because we don't have the stamped clothing in the East. It's slowly coming here, but it's not a thing we really have yet.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's probably like any SCA-ism that happens, because we see stamped garb in like very specific time periods, and realistically, we're cheaply recreating actually woven patterns. And so there's a lot of there's hot debate over a bunch of stamp stuff right now. I absolutely adore it because I think it adds a lot of flash. And so I'm just like, I don't care if this is perioid. Put that stamp on the thing. All of my stuff. So I hope it comes out there because I really think it adds a lot of accent and fun to garb, and you can hide really cool things. Like one of my yellow tunics has gold pelicans put on it, and they're like the battle pelican that's also the skeletal pelican. And it's my favorite tunic ever because you can only see the tunic and you can only see the pelicans in the light when it flashes off the gold.
Like, I love that. And also what you can do with those stamps. So if you get the Kathmandu stamps, you can emboss velvet with those.
Keep going.
Yeah, so you can't do an entire piece at the same time because you'll burn the stamp, but you run an iron, you put it down flat on the back, you hold it there for about 15 to 20 seconds, you move to the other part of the stamp, and it will emboss the velvet. So, yeah. yeah. Get extra fancy.
I'd probably set myself on fire.
You won't.
I now have goals.
Yeah. Get yourself some nice velvet. Or
I hate working in velvet because working in velvet's like working in shearling, and all of a sudden you're cutting something and you're like, why do I need to sneeze all the time? Because that velvet is like, I swear to God, you cut it and it migrates from the scissors. It doesn't like migrate down or anything else like that. It doesn't static cling to your clothes. It static clings to your nose hairs. It's like literally you can watch it float off. You'll be like snip, snip, snip. And then it will be like, boonk. And then it's stuck like this for the rest of the day because that's the velvet. The velvet is just up there.
Well, you just do one of those.
At that point in time, it has welded itself to your nose hairs, and then it's talking to its buddies. It's like, hey guys, it's really fucking awesome up here. Hurry up. She can still breathe.
Join the party.
Yeah, like, hello, we're
Party
having
in Helga's nose.
So how many projects have you like huffed up into your sinuses at this point then?
Okay, I would like to know.
You know what you shouldn't do in a closed room? Spray paint.
I've actually never huffed spray paint. Amusingly enough, I was a super boring teenager.
Oh no, I didn't do that as a teenager, nor did I do that on purpose. But sometimes projects got to get done, and you're in a basement.
I mean, okay, I have totally done that painting shields where all of a sudden you're like,
huh?
Am I high as fuck? Oh, yeah, I'm high as fuck.
We were etching plates for state dinner for Edward and Marguerite, and etching compound is a acid, and when you don't clean the rim of the plastic jar the etching compound comes in, you will fuse the entire jar closed. And we were working on it one evening, and fight practice happened to be happening in the backyard, so we were like, we're gonna go find some strong men who will help us open this jar that we can't open, not realizing we had fused the entire thing closed. And it starts getting, this jar of acid starts getting passed around from fighter to fighter, and they're just starting to like wail on it. And we're like, you probably don't want to do that. Why? What's in it? Acid.
Oops.
You don't want to do that in your nice fighting tabards, please. We're going to figure it out. We're just going to stab it open.
Breaks. Nope. Okay. Hey, you with the stick, put the jar down.
Yep. Like, no spray acid over things.
Yeah. Whew.
Definitely gonna report.
What? So there's a fighter incident report. Why does it involve a non-fighter? There was a thing full of acid.
I needed help.
Oops. Yeah. Eek.
I was not Her Excellency then. I was wee bitty baby Lady Fortune. And I was in that household that people.
Sorry, I dropped something puppy mouth worthy on the ground, and he was just like, "What was that I just heard hit the ground?" Hey girl, hey, is that a chewy thing?
Yum, yum.
He has discovered his love for avocados.
Oh, he is truly a West Coast doggo.
That's cannot be able to buy a house.
You cannot put an avocado on a counter and walk away right now because he will just like bloop.
Land shark.
All you see is the ears go by the counter, they dip down for the load, and then it's like the breach happens and there's the little mouth that goes on the counter. Choke. Gone. And then it's on like Donkey Kong to get that avocado back.
That is expensive taste. Like those things aren't cheap. I mean, I live in the Midwest. Maybe they're cheaper.
Okay, you live in the Midwest where those things are like gold. I live in California where everybody's like, hey, I've got an avocado tree in my front yard. Can you please come stop? Like, take as many as you want. This thing is shitting on my vehicle right now. It's kind of like citrus. Anybody that's like, oh my God, citrus is amazing. I'm like, I have a tree. Do you want some? I'll ship you citrus.
That's wild. Avocados are like $19 each.
Oh, no, so you can get 10 for $1 here.
They're ripe for 46 seconds. And you
you gotta like stare at it.
Oh yeah. They're little dragon eggs otherwise. My cousin Will lives in San Diego and had a persimmon tree in his yard. And he was just like, oh God, these persimmons. And I was like, I want persimmons. Ship me your persimmons.
Okay, I need to get you guys to California in like midsummer, and we will just go fruit cart shopping, where you can buy a flat of strawberries for $10, and not like a box of strawberries. It's the fucking crate flat of strawberries that you have to like two-hand into your truck, and avocados are like 10 for $1 because people are like, please eat these fucking things. Like kiwis, we don't even joke about kiwis. Kiwis you can buy for like 50 cents for 10 pounds.
That's
yeah. The only thing that is gold here in California is blueberries. Blueberries are expensive AF.
They grow in the yard.
Yeah. See, you guys get that. We don't get that. We get citrus and avocados. You guys have all the berries. Like the berries on this side of the hill are fucking gold.
We have some berries, but mostly like if you're into corn or soy.
Okay, you live in a wasteland. Okay, you literally live in a flat, non-mountainous wasteland. It's not like you live in the perpetual desert of vegetables and fruits. That's where you live. You live in the Sahara desert of any produce that has flavor, because it has to be shipped across the goddamn country. If you want corn, man, you got a supply of that. You're fucking set for that shit. But anything with color and or flavor and or like nutritional value, out the window. You are paying out the ass for that thing. You're showing a little ankle. Like you got to like sweet talk the fucking vendor to get something that's actually in season and not like shipped to you kind of ripe.
Wow.
And then you put mayo on it.
Midwest like that. Okay.
I mean, am I wrong?
No. No, have you seen my little plant unit, my indoor garden? Because you can't get vegetables here right now.
Oh my god. The only place that has it worse is Alaska, but they at least can grow cabbage.
Can they?
Oh yeah, like they're actually one of the biggest cabbage producers in the US.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. The Great Earthen Cabbage Feast is something
They're huge. They're fucking huge. Like you think like cabbage, like you pick up a cabbage at a store, they're like this, but no, those fuckers are like this. They're fucking huge. Also pumpkins, really big pumpkins.
Huh.
Baby Ninja just made an Avatar reference for y'all. So with that, are you ready for the next question?
I am.
Are you having fun?
I'm having a great time.
Good.
Like, there was no doubt.
We are 5 questions away from it getting rowdy. Just
Yay!
this one comes from Siobhan. What is your favorite version of period underwear? Commando or hand-stitched linen?
Ooh, okay. So, speaking as a larger lady, as fun as Commando can be, most of our SCA events are in the summer. And in the summer, people whose thighs touch need them not to touch at all. All right, I'm going to confess here. I'm going to make a confession. I hate linen. I hate working with linen. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I like silk. Silk is my favorite fiber, followed by velvet.
Okay, you actually have a legit screw loose. Velvet is the fucking devil.
Oh, no. Velvet's your friend, baby. You just need to be extra. Like...
Oh no, like,
I just rose 10 degrees just hearing you talk about silk and velvet. Like, I'm sweating.
My entire first Penzic wardrobe was all silk because I could. I worked at a fabric store called Fabric Place, and I had this beautiful thing called the Silk Remnant Table where I could get silk for $6.99 a yard plus my employee discount. Linen was going to cost me $7.99 a yard. I was going to wear silk. I understand why you would want linen underwear, however. Caveat. But
silk underwear, you're just going to be like sitting in your own pool of everything.
My very first market day at Burka, I had a white silk Dupioni chemise. A mistake I will never make again. because I boiled in my own bag. Like, it was not good. Not good. That's not what Dupioni's meant to do. It's not the kind of silk you would make underwear out of.
Just it's so
That
hot.
just-
I just imagine Fortune with her like velvet underwear, like I'm gonna be extra as fuck.
When you find out, so I love drawers. So the whole thing with the thighs touching is I love drawers. I love them. You get them in Italy, you get them in Spain. They come over from the Middle East, from Turkish garb, from Persian garb. They're sort of a evolution of salwar, so far as we can tell. You get underwear. Once the dresses start moving away from the body, you get drawers. When you look at, I think it's Marie de Medici's death, when they go through all her stuff and her will and who she leaves stuff through, bitch had red taffeta drawers that she left to somebody. Like, she had fancy underwear. I don't get that fancy.
Wow.
But I do have drawers, and I treat drawers. I have a class on drawers. If you go on gildedkisses.com, you can find my class handout on drawers. And I teach that class because my thighs touch, and I need to have drawers so that my thighs can survive events. I have tried other things. I have tried, if anyone else went to SCA 50 year, it was on the surface of the sun in Indiana. Never again. Tried doing men's boxers there. Did not work. Drawers work. I have tried using Body Glide, different deodorants, things like that. There's a product from Lush called Silky Underwear that people have used. Drawers consistently, and split drawers. I do my drawers split. There is controversy on whether or not that's how they were done in period. My drawers will be split. I'm not touching the seat of a porta potty. Thank you very much. And also there's all sorts of fun things you can do. So I have a set of drawers that are a cotton linen blend that were done for curtains in probably a children's bedroom that have embroidered letters on them, so that you can have the pickup line if I bet your initials are on my underwear.
Fortune, I'm pretty sure that you are a lost part of my personality. Because the more you talk, the more I'm just like,
Yeah.
This bitch is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. You are 100%. I'm just like, oh, this is my people right here.
I have a set that are cotton with jewels on them, so I can show someone the family jewels. I have a bunch that are all sorts of different fun prints and cotton, and they have saved me. So drawers. When I was queen.
Oh, drink on that one.
I did. Thank you. The Embroiderers Guild of the East, Athena's thimble, give you a gift, and my gift was embroidered drawers at the end of my reign, and I love them and cherish them, and have yet to wear them because they are too precious. Because they're amazing. So, and there are embroidered drawers in period. You can find them. The Prado has a set, which are my favorite, which have little motto embroidered on them that says, "I want the heart." And I love a set of underwear that says, "I want the heart," all over it. Yeah, wear drawers. Drawers are fantastic. Definitely. I mean, I sleep commando, or at least I used to at events. And they started sending an Antony to wake me up in the morning. Thought that was probably a line our friendship didn't need to cross. So instead, I tended to wear like oversized Patriots t-shirts at Penzic to sleep in. But definitely the linen underwear, definitely linen drawers. I personally, if you're also doing chemises, I prefer a cotton voile, if you can find it, over a linen. Most linens tend to be a little too heavy. I like very, very sheer, as you can see, chemises. Kinesia.
We accept this on the show, the sheer level.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we're about an hour in. Are you guys ready for a commercial break, or should we roll into the first of the questions for all of us?
I'm good for a commercial break because I would like to turn my ring light back on because my cat unplugged it.
Well, then let's, Baby Ninja, would you throw us in a commercial break? And then...
The Cedar Wardrobe specializes in custom-made garments tailored to your measurements. Patterns are pulled from period sources whenever possible for a more authentic look, and full hand sewing is available upon request. If the item you're looking for isn't on the website, just send an email and we can work on a custom order together. Everyone deserves to have clothing that fits well and flatters their body, no matter what shape they are, be it corsets, medieval or Renaissance garb, reenactment of any era, cosplay, or ritual wear. The Cedar Wardrobe is here to help you fill your custom-made needs. Find them at thecedarwardrobe.com or facebook.com/thecedarwardrobe.
Hi, I'm David Yardley. I'm going to be releasing an album of my medieval and fantasy-inspired music called The Lost Codex of Avalon. Pre-orders are already available of the album at my website, which is davidyardleymusic.com. I've been immersed in medieval and Renaissance authentic music for the last 30 years of my life, and I compose based on a deep understanding and a lifelong love of that period of music. All of these have been sources of the inspiration to find that space for fantasy and the medieval in the modern world.
The Artisans Menagerie offers just about anything to adorn you that can be made out of metal. Our artisan uses techniques ranging from ancient all the way up through modern laser work to achieve the perfect item. Casting, chasing and repoussé, engraving, stone setting, etching, glass enamel work. You name it, we can probably make it happen. We offer custom coronets, jewelry to complement any period you can think of, order medallions, rings, or brooches. We even do armor, but only as an excuse to make it pretty. If it's metal or glass, or maybe even wood, it involves hammers and or fire, we're there. Visit us today on Facebook or Etsy at The Artisans Menagerie, or our website at theartisansmenagerie.com.
The Cedar Wardrobe specializes in custom...
And we're back! And everybody, like, Dog Void.
Oh.
Hold on, do you want to meet Cat Void?
Yeah, I want to meet Cat Void. We all get to meet Dog Void. Oh, that is Cat Void.
We must all drink.
Yep.
I got nothing. I have a black water bottle. That is it. Like...
Oh, now she's mad.
Like Zahra's gonna throw down.
I'm doing my best, man.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, we're back and we're about to go into the questions for everybody to answer. So right now is the time that I'm gonna say, everybody remember, every 10 likes equals one doggo treat, and 100 likes on this episode while we're live equals me picking up the 50-pound German Shepherd puppy and sticking him in my lap for as long as you guys like. So the sooner we get to 100 likes, the longer you have my German Shepherd puppy screwing with me the entire show. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in so far. We're now going to have a little bit of rowdy fun. We're going to have a couple serious questions, and then we're going to wrap this show up with some questions that Zahra and I came up with to amuse ourselves. So the first general question, Zahra, you ready?
you led up to it with this like zesty stuff, but this one's kind of like, So
this one's like,
this is actually Helga's question. What is the difference between justice and accountability, and how do these things play a role in the SCA?
Ooh. Like to take things down a notch here.
sorry.
Uh,
You said you wanted some serious questions, so we.
no, these are good. These are good. Not everything we try to hold people accountable for are we going to see justice. I think that's just unfortunately the way of the world. I wish we were at a place in the SCA where everyone who wronged someone else, we could get justice, but we aren't. Accountability is both self and outward, I think. So accountability is holding yourself accountable for your own actions, whether it's current actions or something that you have done in the past. So if you think back and you're doing that thing that everyone's brain is doing, but in quarantine especially, and you're sitting there in bed at night thinking about all the things you've ever done wrong in your life at 3 a.m. instead of scrolling TikTok, reach out to people, say, hey, you probably don't remember this, but I said a shitty thing in your presence and I would like to hold myself accountable for it. And also then when you see other people say or do shitty things, it is not calling them out, because I hate that connotation of call out culture, but it is naming the thing, and it is bringing that person's attention to something. Hey, you did a shitty thing. Would you like a mulligan? Would you like a do-over on the shitty thing you just said? Or are you good with that? You gonna double down? Because I'll know who you are from your response to this. And then justice is holding someone outside of you, both accountable and hoping to get some sort of resolution. Unfortunately, you're not going to get resolution in all cases. Again, I wish we could. Trigger warning, sexual assault. I am a victim of sexual assault of someone who was a family member when I was very young. That person, I was never able to hold to justice. I had to come to justice on my own terms. And I had to live with that and know that that person I was never going to be able to face that person in court and hold them accountable for something. I had to live with it on my own way and go forward. So accountability is both inward and outward. Justice is something you are getting from an outside source. And sometimes what you just have to know is that shitty thing happened. I'm not going to let shitty things like that happen to me again. And I know who that human is. I know who you are now, and I'm going to distance myself from you. So,
well, I think you actually answered it really well, by the way. And thank you for being so raw and open with your answer. So I'm going to say that justice is external, where accountability is internal. Justice is also dictated by the laws, traditions, and customs of a culture. Accountability is about your or the group ability to hold you to those. And so we see accountability through actions and ownership, or sentencing, amusingly enough, because sometimes people can't be accountable, so we must hold them accountable. Justice is the structure that we use accountability within. And so we define justice, and that creates how we can be accountable. And that's the reason why it's an ever-changing thing and an always updatable thing, is because justice changes as culture changes. Accountability changes as culture changes, and which is the reason why it turns into something that generationally is argued about. So that's my like short, sweet answer on this, because I sat awake over this one. Hey, stop singing. Somebody just got home, so he's like, but the man is home. You should let me out of the dog box. He is trying to be, he's trying to hold me accountable to my releasing him from the dog box. He does not get justice right now.
Yeah, so, this is a rough one. I very much agree that for me, at least, when I think of accountability, it is something very internal and kind of self-responsible, whereas like justice is almost like where you fail to take accountability. So when someone fails to take accountability, you need a system of justice to address that, which I really do think of the two, right? Justice is something that is we create these policies and we create systems and we create repercussions. But really what people need to learn and what we need to teach is the ability for people to take responsibility and accountability for their own actions, right? Because when you rely solely on duty or on deterrence as your moral compass, that erases any weight on yourself, right? It completely externalizes the system you make choices within. And I think that's a problem, right? If we remove the need to think critically about what we say and what we do, and we rely entirely on the system to do it for us and to guide us as far as like, well, this person got in trouble for this, so I won't do this. Instead of being able to evaluate for ourselves, like, what did I do wrong? Then we really only see consequence where we get caught. And it's too frequent, as both of you have pointed out, it's too frequent that we don't see justice come into play, right? It can be very difficult. And so systems of accountability, I really do think need to be prioritized. As far as how that plays a role in the SCA, as an honor-based society, I really think that's integral, right? When I think of honor-based anything, taking accountability for what you do is so central. And what you do in a void of anyone, bless you, what you do in a void of anyone calling you on your actions is really significant, because there's so many people who have the option to say nothing, right? They know that they have done something wrong, and they have the option to not speak up. They have the option to go and just let it slide past, because no one is going to call them on it, whether it's because it wasn't a major enough thing, whether because they're in a position of power or authority, or they're just well liked, whatever it is. People are in that position a lot, and the only way to see growth and the only way to avoid harm to other people is for people to make the choice on their own to go, you know what, that was shitty of me. Because neutrality is a lazy shield to hide behind. Like, just it's just not good. So yeah, so I do think accountability is something that we should really prioritize as a society, based on the idea that we put honor on such a pedestal for ourselves.
I'm going to make a shirt of neutrality is a shitty shield to hide behind.
I'm not going to take a side. Well, inaction is an action.
I'm also pretty sure that was a soapbox for all three of us. Thank you, guys. That was a hard question to answer, and so I want to thank both of you very much for taking the time to answer it.
Thank you.
We're one-eyed
for what laying there in the middle of the night being like, this is a fucked up question I should probably contemplate. And now I will inflict it upon other people.
That too.
All right. So the next question comes from Antonio. In your experience, what is the best way to establish consent culture within the SCA?
The best way to establish consent culture, and again, this is one I think I vaguely saw, is to pattern it. It is to pattern it, and it is to speak to it and educate to it. So when you see someone who perhaps needs a little more education about consent, you know, we don't touch people without asking here. It's interesting how similar it is to talking about things like diet culture and fat phobia, of the like, we don't talk about people's bodies that way here. It's like, no, we don't talk about this people that way here. We don't touch people without asking here. We don't act that way. And it's not confrontational. You don't start from an angry place because you're not going to have anyone listen to you. You start from a conversational, more jovial way of like, hey, that's just not what we do. This isn't how we do things. And it's also getting the people around you all on the same level. And sometimes that's long conversations. My household has had long car trip rides to events where we've discussed things about consent and how we want our encampment to feel and the people in it to feel. We've had long conversations with the known world courtesans about how we want the encampment there to feel and the bacchanal to feel. And it's setting that expectation. It's holding everyone to that expectation. So you get somebody who's new. It's almost like the Emily Post rules of etiquette. Your job is to make other people understand your expectations so they can best interact with you. So if you set the expectation of this is how it's going to be here, they'll know. It's like, hey, we don't do that here. And it just has to be as simple as that. It's not yelling. It's not like, here's everything you've ever done wrong in your life. It's just, hey, that's not what we do. Strike two, we're going to walk you aside. We may have an intense conversation there and you might get walked out, but it's everybody being on that same page and having the conversations about it is not no is no. It is yes means yes. We are trying to build more of an active consent culture, and that's hard. That's hard because of histories the SCA has had towards consent. But we can do it. It just involves listening to the other side, because people aren't doing things out of malice 90% of the time. It is not maliciously that someone is doing this. It is because of ignorance. And the best thing you can do is let them know, let them understand what the rules are of your space. They're going to be able to follow them. So yeah.
Oh.
Man, I gotta follow that. Well, actually, Zahra's gotta follow that one.
So I agree with everything you said. I'm gonna narrow because like this is a topic that for me is very close to home, and I feel like I could sit and go for the next like 20 minutes, and I won't. So I want to talk about two of the things. So when we're talking about consent, you mentioned active consent, right? Enthusiastic consent, where it's not the avoidance of a no, but it's an active yes. So what that means for people is if you nag someone into saying yes, you don't have consent. If people are reluctant and go, yeah, I mean, I guess, you don't have consent. If people don't say anything and they just stare at you, you don't have consent. I can't tell you how many examples I could give where they didn't say no, but that's not what we want. They need to actively and uncoerced say yes. And I think
Coercion is not consent either.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to bring up is the idea. So like when we talk about consent, I think many of us go to a place of sexual assault because sexual assault is definitely a topic I think close to home for a lot of women, a lot of men, a lot of people in general. I mean, it's just
Too many people.
too many. It is too common. But when we talk about modeling consent in the SCA, we are not just talking about potential paramours, romantic partners, sexual partners. We're talking about everything, right? So when people come up and hug you when you don't want to be hugged, that is not okay. We should be asking people. We should be getting consent to do these kinds of things. When people touch your hair without your permission, we should be asking people. As we go back to events post-COVID, there are going to be people who are more comfortable with physical contact and less comfortable with it. And a lot of the suggestions that I've kind of seen have this almost like system of like, well, we could wear wristbands, or we could wear little pins, or, you know, if you don't want to be touched, you wear like a red pin. And if you need to be asked, wear a yellow. And I'm like, so love your spirit, like love your spirit, but you should have to opt in, not put the onus on everyone to opt out. I do not want to be tackle hugged by some random motherfucker I don't know because I'm not wearing a red badge. That's not okay. So again, when we talk about consent, it needs to be active, and it does not have to be as awkward, or I mean, it's as simple as, hey, are we hugging today? Hey, do you feel like doing this today? Do you mind if I kiss you on the hand today? Like, it's not that weird. And people, I think, get into this very kind of like, oh, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, I don't want to pause the conversation to ask. Just ask. I promise it will gloss over in a second if it's okay, and it won't impact anything. And if it's not okay, you need to know that. You need to know that before you violate someone else's boundaries or do worse. So I'm going to stop there. Again.
Because that person isn't going to tell you that person is not always going to tell you that you violated their spaces. They're just going to avoid you going forward. And they may just avoid the SCA going forward. And this goes for also like, can I give you a compliment? Like, are you in a space where we can have this conversation? And it's no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give a reason. And I know especially women are conditioned to like, no, we have to appease. Like, no, we don't. No. Like, I've been watching this thing on TikTok that has gone viral. I'm sorry, millennial TikTok. But it's like, you know, it's like, stop being polite to men who creep you out. Don't be polite to men who creep you out. Don't be polite to men who creep you out. Don't be polite to men. It's not your job to comfort them. Don't be polite to men who creep you out. Like, it's
but
hard.
That comes from somewhere, right? Like, it's scary.
It comes from somewhere. It comes from a very people-pleasing. Like, why aren't you just nice to him? Like, yeah. But we can broaden that, because especially like, I know there are people I know who are like have sensory issues who are like, I don't want to be in a order of high merit because I see what happens up there is they just hug you without your consent. I don't know half these people. Like, ask before you go in for a hug. It's real easy. It's going to take you 2 seconds. Just do it. I'm sorry, Helga. Do you want to go and do this?
No, you guys are fine. You guys have actually covered this really well. So I'm just going to sum up. Is how we normalize it within the SCA is by the peers acting out the behaviors publicly. When you're inspecting somebody for armor, just because they're in armor does not equal consent. Ask, do I have your permission to touch your helmet? If they don't, well, that's a different conversation about like, maybe they shouldn't be on field, but like literally normalizing very easy, normal acts or like common acts and creating that consent conversation publicly will just spread. Because when the peers do it, when the kings and queens do it, when those in charge do it, everybody will mimic the behavior. And so what I'm going to say is that we all, like, you two gave very amazing chunks of advice and everything else like that. And what I'm going to say is own the advice that was given and then take it on action. just ask. And I realized that just asking is very scary because many of us are programmed to resent being rejected. You need to personally deal with your own fear of rejection before you will be comfortable enough to ask permission. And that's actually on you. And if somebody rejects your affection or your touch or your advance, that's not actually a fault on you. That's them stating a boundary. And by you continuing to respect that boundary, you have now become a safe person for them to interact with. You have become a person that they are willing to interact with on their good days and their bad days. That's actually real trust. And if we look at it that way, of by giving consent and by listening for consent, we are creating an area of trust. We are creating bonds of trust. We are giving ourselves and our populace a better way to say, hey, cool, I am capable of doing this today. I am not capable of doing this day. And you want to know what? Suck it up, Buttercup doesn't fucking work. It doesn't. And it won't. And it's going to continue to kill various things where people are like, well, just get tougher. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. Like, in the end of like, I can tell you, I came from a background where I legitimately don't know how to cry. I had it physically beaten out of me as a child. I need consent from another human being before I'm allowed to be emotional.
Oh, that is 100%. Like when I first started in the SCA, like I was very bad at crying. Yeah. Because I grew up in Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts are both super in on chivalry and super in on toxic masculinity. And I internalized a lot of the toxic masculinity. Yeah.
And that's one of the things.
Cry. And I thought it was a badge of honor that I couldn't cry. And I couldn't express emotion. And I was like, no, it's okay. It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to state your boundaries. You want to know what? We all want a healthy environment. Cool, great. State your boundaries. Understand that when you state your boundaries, you then have to maintain your boundaries. That's on you. It's just like triggered. If you're triggered by something, it is on you to manage your baggage and your triggers. It's not on everybody else around you. You have to be bold enough to say them. That's the difference, because then people can meet you with it. Actually, if you say, hey, this is a really stressful situation for me, can we adjust something? You'll find out that 99.99% of the time people are like, oh, fuck, you're not comfortable by this? Well, sweet. We can like tilt this by like 5 degrees and now you're comfortable.
Yeah.
But we all need to be willing to have those conversations. And so I'm going to like wrap my fucking weird ass ramble up into this and say, we need to both be willing to, as peers, state our boundaries and ask for other people's boundaries and then respect them without having an emotional like, well, why am I not allowed to hug you right now? No one should have to justify that. If you're making them justify it, you're actually part of the problem. And so just accept it and roll on and understand it's not a rejection of you. It's them maintaining their boundaries. And that's fucking awesome. So like, yeah, there's my. I'm gonna drink. I'm pretty sure that was a weird ass soapbox.
But you can all sum it up as like, it's not fun unless everyone is having fun. Like, it's not fun unless everybody's enjoying it. So make sure you look around and you're also taking in those visual cues of like, hey.
Yeah. Extra point. When we talk about this, again, it is more than just sex. It is more than just physical contact. People are in a place right now of really fragile emotional health. I think almost everyone. People don't have the outlets that they normally have. And so if you are one of those people that vents to people, which I totally do, I have started checking in with people and being like, hey, are you in a headspace? Because I realized at some point that I was taking my big ass bucket of negativity and going, I'm having a bad day. On top of whoever I was talking to. And if they were like, my dog died and my grandmother ran away, that is not a good look to just dump this over their head, right? They need the space to deal with their stuff. And if I don't ask before I do that, I'm creating situations for my friends that they don't want to be in. But I'm also kind of shooting myself in the foot because now my poor friend is going to be like, that sucks. And I'm going to be like, why don't you care? So really, again, consent, boundaries, communication. Good for
Boundary.
everybody.
And also, like, when you're dealing with the hard stuff, dump out. Like, if you're all dealing with, we've had, unfortunately, some very beloved people in the SCA pass away during COVID, and don't go to the people close in and dump your grief on them. You dump out. Like, you don't pile on. You're like, hey, I need to get out my emotions on this. I'm personally a person who needs to talk through their emotions. So poor Bianca Anguissola, Baronet, the blood baroness, like, she'll and I'll be going somewhere and I'm just like, bleh. And sometimes I need to know, Bianca's full. I need to dump on somebody else. Like, dump out. Don't go to the person who's closer to the issue. Dump out. Anyway. We can do this all night.
With that, shall we go to a slightly sassier question?
I mean, I'm willing to do one more serious one if you are.
Oh, there's one more serious one, and actually you should totally check the chat.
I did, and I just didn't respond.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're going to keep going. So for everybody behind the scenes, you just got to see behind the curtain, break the fourth wall. We keep the Zoom chat running so we can check in with everybody as they're going on, because we just hit an hour and a half. And so we try to check in with our guests and our guest hosts of like, hey, do you want to keep going? Do you want to stay like more serious? Do you want to have like super sassy time? And so that way we can keep everybody fresh and happy also on the show, as well as amusing for you, the audience. And so we're going to get a sassy question, then we got one more serious question, and then it's time to motherfucking throw down.
Let's do it.
So, Zahra, next question's yours.
Yes, it is. I knew that. Anyway, sorry. Tim Krisnak, what is your favorite memory of a kingdom other than the one you live in?
Oh. All right. And I'm going to exclude Penzic from this because I know it is an Ethelmark, and I love the good people of Ethelmark. I have a good memory in Ethelmark, but I have many good memories in Ethelmark. But we're going to go out to Great Western War. I got to go to Great Western War a couple of years ago and enjoy the hospitality of the West. I also enjoyed the hospitality of the West in Estrella, but it was real rainy and muddy and cold. Just thinking about it makes me want to wear warm socks, warm dry socks. We do not speak about the once in 100-year flooding. And Great Western War, I have so many good memories of going out to that event and just enjoying the people there. And I think my best memory is there was a night that we called Cheesepocalypse, or that Her Majesty Vera called Cheesepocalypse, where I discovered that there's a thing called cheese in a can, and it's amazing. And as a New Englander who has very firm opinions on what cheddar should be and what should look like, it should come from Vermont, it should be white, it should come in a block. The fact that I thoroughly enjoyed cheese in a can and that evening, and I think we did a cat's cradle that evening, or tried to all remember how to do cat's cradle that evening. It was one of my absolute favorite memories of just enjoying the hospitality of another kingdom and enjoying relaxing with all these people from all these different places. And Great Western War holds a very special place in my heart, and I hope to get back there this year. I hope it happens. I know they're currently planning on it, and I will be fully vaccinated by then. I hope to be able to get out there, because I just have such joyous memories of sitting around those encampments and just enjoying the people.
I'm gonna have a little bit of an ego moment here and say, so Fortune, this means we get you back in our camp because I have a Vera and your hosting tent.
I do enjoy living in the barracks tent. Like, you're like, oh, we're gonna live in a tent with 6 people. I don't know. Like that, they're all good.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, except for that baby ninja guy. We can put like a flag outside. We put like a tie on the doorknob. Cheese in the Can was amazing. And we have been plotting throughout all of COVID to like, how do we get cheese in a can so we can have cheese apocalypse in the East?
Just ask Vera. She'll figure out how to get it to you.
I know she will. I know she will. I don't want to like poke the bear because I know poor Vera has been doing an amazing job of reigning far longer than like royalty should be right now. And God bless them. Anyone who is on the throne right now, God bless you.
Right.
Like,
for reals.
God bless you.
So my favorite memory from a kingdom other than the one I live in. So there is like, I have been very spoiled in my traveling within the kingdoms because I've like traded art or like traded time and like, hey, I'll set up your pavilions and stuff like that if you'll fly me out so I can go experience this event. So I'm really spoiled. And so I have 2 that I'm going to bring up, which are definitely bro moments. So the first time I got to go to Ontir, I flew up there for a crown, and I made some of the like people that I talk to and confide in to this day. And we were a bunch of unbelts awkwardly hanging around a fire. We didn't know each other or anything else like that. And one of us was just like, hey, I have beer. Do we want to hang out? And all of us were like, oh, thank God one of us talked. And to this, like, we stayed up until like 3 o'clock in the morning bullshitting about like fighting culture and like what the virtues meant and everything else like that. And these people that were involved in that are still like rocks in my life 10 years later. And so I'll tell you that the moments in time that nobody epically knows about will turn into moments and memories that you think about when you're missing people. And I miss sitting on a fucking rando bench up in Ontir bullshitting with a bunch of unbelts about like how we saw virtues while we were throwing beers back and forth and then talking about titties. I would really like to note that it went from like super serious, oh fuck, that's a really nice set of titties, like back to this. So it's a bro moment. And then my second one, because it's worth mentioning because it's epic, is when I got to go to the East for the first time for 100 Minutes War. Brennan learned that I had never had White Castle. And so literally we set up everything else like that. I'm like, oh cool, I gotta go change my garb. And Brennan is like, the fuck you will get in your garb, you're getting in the car. I'm like, but we have things to do. He's like, no, you do not. I'm like, okay, person more in charge than me because I don't know what's going on right now. And he's like, get in the fucking car. And so we get in the car and then we proceed to drive to this little fucking shack of a place where he's like, you will eat these little hamburgers just so you fucking know. And I was like, aren't these the things that make you shit yourself? Like, I need a fight in a couple hours. He's like, you will eat these things. I'm ordering them for you. And so Brendan and I totally broed out in the front of a fucking vehicle, eating sliders. And talking again like SCA virtues versus titties, because that's a thing, and going from there. And so those are some of my favorite SCA memories, is the little ones that aren't public. They aren't these huge moments in time. It's the bonding moments that last for a lifetime. Because I consider Brennan one of the knights that influenced me becoming a knight. I am here today because of that man. He is what I would consider people are like, oh, who's your knight? I'm like, well, this is the person I was squired to. He is my knight. Also, here are the other knights that were my knights. These are the people that I made sure were influences on my life because I trusted them. And that was really the beginning of that relationship, was put this in your mouth.
White Castle. I mean, Pop's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think think I'm actually gonna have to go with probably 100 Minutes War. So that's out east. So there was a lot to that one, right? Seto was reigning and I was staff and no one else could make it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And everyone there was kind of like, are you sure you want to go? I'm like, yeah, it's an event. I like people in East Kingdom. It'll be cool. And they're like, so it's a little rough. I'm like, excuse you, like I'm good. And like, this is all bravado, right? I am that bitch that goes to a forest preserve and is like, is there Wi-Fi here? Like, there's no reason for me to think that like I can rough it in any capacity. So we get there and like, keep in mind, it is me and 19 fighter dudes. That was the mid-realm contingent. I'm not kidding. Me, 19 fighter dudes. And like never one to be shackled by logic. I was like, well, they go all the time, so I'm sure they like planned like food and snack. No, they did not. We had half a bottle of water that my buddy Ulrich like dug out of the back of his van, a handful of beef jerky, and like 15 energy drinks, and that was like the sum total of our sustenance. It was wild. It was a lot, right? And then basically when we got there, we like go and all the guys are like, oh, I have to pee. And I'm like, oh great, I have to pee too. And then they all just start like peeing in like bushes and stuff. And I'm like, are there bathrooms anywhere? And they were like, oh, and like my body like took a screenshot. I was like, oh my god. So I borrowed I borrowed one of the cars we came in to like keep driving me back and forth to the building at the entrance because it was wild. Anyway, I got to spend the event hanging out with Fortune, which was super awesome. We just like set up and watched people fight in the distance and just shot the shit all day, which was super cool. Court was awesome. I got to see a bunch of my people out east. I continued to have to run to the building at the front of the entire event to have to pee the entire time I was there, which like was very like hell is empty and all the demons are here, but that's fine. Everything is fine. It was super fun. Like it was super crazy fun. Like I'm so glad I went. But yeah, it was I will believe it next time people are like, so are you
I don't go to that event usually because I've had that experience of just like, oh, we're gonna stand around in the cold on concrete, not have anywhere to pee. I don't want to do this. And I went down. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and got in Duke Edward Gray's murder van and drove down because I know you and Seto, who I love. Shout out to Count Seto, who is the best. We're coming, and I was like, I want to go hang out with them, even if it means I need to be in Edward's van at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Van?
Yeah, like I was literally like, we just had another breaks moment. Like, whoa. Duke
Edward has
van.
an Econoline, a Ford Econoline van that he takes to events. And he just fills with people. And I thought showing up at 5 a.m. that they had been super sweet and left me the passenger seat. And that, in fact, was not what had happened. What had happened is no one else wanted to have that up close and personal a view of Edward's driving, which is aggressive. So I'm up in the front with a man I refer to as Far. I love His Grace Edward Gray. He is, for a very long time, the one true knight for me. So I'm up in the front with him, and I'm just like, oh, I see why no one else sits here, because this is very this is adventurous. We saw a bear on our way down. Like, we got down to 100 Minutes War, and I was like, Zahra, you and I are going to sit on this mostly dilapidated tent platform. We're gonna have ourselves some almonds, and we're gonna have a great time. And it was us and Thomas of Effingham, who is Mary and Carolyn Jen. I love him to death. We just sat there, shot the shit all day. But yeah, it is a rough event there. If you're not fighting, why are you there?
So I didn't know there were
I learned
bears.
about non-Western helmet conventions.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were bears. Had someone run that by me, like
The bear wasn't on the event site. It was somewhere in New York, I believe. But there was definitely like, we turned off the highway and we're like, oh, I wonder what that black thing on the side of the road. That's a bear.
Just remember, bears are more scared of you if you're louder than them.
I apologize, Your Grace. It's a magic bus and not a murder van. It's the Greyhound Express. And I love him to death. And,
this is just getting more awkward.
yep. You know,
it's
magic mystery
I'm more
tour.
impressed that you were there.
Yeah, but also I agree on Brennan. Brennan is an awesome human, and I love having him in my life. So.
For reals.
Oh
okay, so I've got a question for you guys since everybody's ignoring me in chat on Zoom.
No, we can do it. Let's jump.
Let's jump?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Then we're jumping. Give me 1 second so I can line out some stuff on the list because we're having fun. So we're just going to keep rolling with the fun bus and fuck the other serious question that we were going to ask.
So we can do it at the end if we want.
Yeah, we can always do them at the end. Also, we got some really good questions submitted through chat. So this section is the new section. Zahra and I were like, we wish to ask Fortune some things. So we came up with a series of questions for you, and apparently us too, if you wish to know the answers to those questions. So hold on to your historical underwear and let's do this. Question 1. Do your titties have names?
They don't. Although Sex Book Club, we were just having a discussion on if they would be the like. Oh no, we just had this conversation in a group chat with you. It was like the two gentle tits of Verona or something like that. No,
we were using every Shakespeare reference for your tits possible.
Yes,
it was the two noble knockers.
The two noble knockers. That's what it is. The two noble knockers may be what I refer to them as going forward. I mean, they've been also referred to as, two of the 7 hills of Quintavia. And
I'm now going back to that chat real quick so I can read some of these off.
Oh, they're so good. We were so good the other day.
We started riffing on just ridiculous.
Okay, Zahra, do you have the ability to read these off? Because you're going to read them off like way more flamboyantly than I will.
What?
What?
I can find them. I remember somebody. So I remember McBreast.
Yeah, McBreast was really fucking that was spot on.
The McBreast has special sauce though.
Yeah, we did decide that was a McDonald's dish. I personally liked the Taming of the Tatas, but
I liked Julius Cleavage. That was good.
Julius Cleavage is a good one.
I also liked Ann Titty and Cleopatra. That was the double, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, this is a fun card game with your friends. Just go through the Shakespeare's plays and just make titty jokes with them.
I mean, we didn't get into his poems, so we're gonna have to try harder.
We got a lot of sonnets to.
I know, right? So many of those to figure out how we can use areola. Okay, so Zahra, what do you call your titties?
So I have jokingly called my boobs Laverne and Shirley or Thelma and Louise, my whole life. It kind of depends on the mood. But honestly, if we're actually talking, I'll say the girls more than I'll say anything. Usually because so when you reach a certain size, It's just cleavage, no matter what you're wearing, just titties popping out of your turtleneck. They're just always there. And so I have figured out that the girls are just always like, freedom. Because it makes me feel better.
Really? Because mine are more like William Wallace, like freedom.
I just imagine one of your boobs like half painted blue.
Yeah.
The other one's wearing a kilt around it. Like, just sounds good.
You can have like plaid like pasties, right? Like that's
I will now find plaid pasties and send them to you. I swear to God.
I have edible pasties, but I don't have plaid ones. Yeah.
I have unicorn sequin pasties because somebody on my court thought they were funny.
Yeah, and I would like to thank you for being an example, because I very much at Crown Tourney turned to my household and was like, shut the unicorn shit down now. I see where this goes. Like I've seen what happens with Araya. Shut it down now. Yeah.
Yeah, Monday name drink.
oh shoot. Monday names.
But yeah, that did not stop the 6-foot inflatable unicorn being put in my tent at Pensick. But
I may have been a little jealous of that, by the way.
Oh.
So the unicorn thing, by the way, started as a joke. Like I didn't have a thing for unicorns. I now have a thing for unicorns because I got given some really cool shit. Like,
go on.
oh no, like I got unicorn like fucking battery powered LED lights. The tap lights come in unicorn and then they glow in the dark. They're the best privy lights ever because they're hard plastic, so they survive living in your haversack. They also glow in the dark, so when you need to go into a privy, you turn it on, you check the privy. When you need to sit down, you turn it off. It glows in the dark, so you don't ever leave it behind you. And it's tough enough to live in your haversack, like with all the other shit you jam in there and not break. Like I also have unicorns on my duchy, which are like on point. What else really cool things have I been given? I have a unicorn, like one of the foldy sleepy pillows. So I've got a neck pillow that's a unicorn. It's the best necky pillow that I have ever had the pleasure of owning. It's fucking fantastic. But like other stuff, like really cool period art. Like just all that, like the little things have been fun. Like I enjoy signing legal documents with my little pink unicorn pen that I've had since my second reign.
I like your headphones.
Oh yeah, I think I actually have those here. Hang on one moment.
Adorable.
Oh yeah.
Adorable. I'm gonna be really disappointed if you don't get a dick joke out of all this.
I know, right?
I mean, she's horny.
All the time. All right.
So the most important part, which we've totally glossed over, is Araya. Tell us about your titties.
Oh, I just referred to them as.
Yeah.
I would like to note that I am much less supportive and or nice to my breasts than you guys are, where you have like nice names or references. I just refer to them as those things.
Oh no, sweetie, learn to love them.
Yeah, I am just now understand. I mean, you can see from some of the Between Two Peers pictures put out, it took me till my 30s to be like, oh, décolletage has power. Like, up until then, I was like, how flat can I bind these fucking things? So.
No, it has power. Embrace the power of the titty.
I'm still learning how to do that. You can actually see, like, in the show, you'll watch me be like slowly. Where like you don't get any more of the titty. And so that's kind of, I'm still learning to love the titties versus being like, these things are a pain in the ass and they're in the way, like all the time.
So that is true, right? Like that is an unavoidable part of life, right? The number of times I have jauntily gone down a flight of stairs and been like, but no, perhaps not. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But also, do you know how funny it is? Like mid-conversation, just keep eye contact and like hike them. And everyone's like because everyone likes boobs.
I mean, I would like to note as a solidly velociraptor sex-based individual because I'm not really bi. I'm pretty much, did you move? Like that's I refer to myself as a sexual omnivore. Like don't move too fast, otherwise Araya's gonna be like stop.
Do you make that sound? Do you like velociraptor after people too?
What, just like velociraptor after people like ah? I'm sorry, that's a cock sound. No, actually really like I flirt with people and then like once people are like flirt back, I'm just like what the fuck are you doing?
Seriously, I have the same thing where I just assume no one is actually interested and I just flirt and then they flirt back and I'm like,
oh yeah, no, like 100%. Like if you flirt with me, I just turn into the most awkward Muppet ever where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here. Like
literally propose to you the first
yeah, I know, like right. But like no joke, I just don't like if you flirt with me, I'm just like
I think we all need like signs, like the actual like sign of just like I am flirting with you now, so that I can.
I'm so into consent because I don't like guess and check because I don't understand guess and check. Like I don't understand the human mating ritual where everybody's like, I show you my things and I dance like a bird at you, and I'm just like, some fuck.
just need to raise the sign of I am flirting. Oh
Actually,
my god,
the birds on Discovery Channel would be much more clear. Like the little ones that like have the little like umbrella foomph, and it's like
right? If like guys came up to you and they're just like you're like, oh, this is clear. You are interested in like, did you make me a nest? Did you bring me a pretty blue rock? I do not see a pretty blue rock right here. This is my thing. So like, go fuck off.
Did you build me a house? Did you spend a year practicing a dance to entice me?
I know, right?
like honestly, hold on. No, we should bring that back because like I'm sorry, I like a lot of people, but like I'm a big bitch and I'm not gonna chase you. I mean, unless you got like snacks, I'll do a little light jog if you got some snacks. But like otherwise,
hey girl,
you know what's going on? Like
the way to my heart is to take me to the little donut shop.
I don't know. I'm sorry. At this point in time, if you show up with gluten-free donuts, that's points. Okay. Like,
girl, the gluten-free Oreos are where it's at.
Oh, gluten-free Oreos are the fucking bomb. Like, you build me a little nest of those. Like, we walk into your pavilion and there's a little nest of gluten-free Oreos. I'm sorry, shit's going down.
those
are
are
the edible they have dropped.
I need you to do a little dance at me. Like a thing of gluten-free Oreos. That is clear communication. We will then talk. Like, oh, you are interested. Okay. This whole like subtle, like mild flirt game. I'm like,
been in too many flirtation chips where just nothing has come of it. It's just like, no, you just need to tell me. Use your big boy words. Use your big boy words.
Which again, consent. I'm good with flirtation shit, but like, where are we going? Where's the destination? Where are we going? I need to know because I'm not like the Oreo pasties don't need to come out if this is all we're at. But
like I'm happy to flirt with you, like no matter what. But you just need to let me know where the boundary is. Oh, like it's setting boundaries.
Oh yeah,
it's like being aware of your boundaries.
And that's actually so this is one of my weird things is I'm a giant natural flirt. Like I naturally like flirt and like I want people to feel good about themselves. Like I want people to feel paid attention to and sexy about themselves and everything else like that. And so that developed me into being a very natural flirt. But that also means that I'm very keen on boundaries where I'm just like when people are like, oh, you're flirting with me. I'm like, no. Like I want you to feel good about yourself. Like I am actually saying the things that people should fucking say to you all the time, but they only use it when they're trying to get something out of you. And so it turns into like these very weird consent conversations where people are like, oh, but hey, like, I'm like, no, like, I'm just trying to appreciate you. Like, I'm showing you affection because I think you're worthy of affection from everybody around you. So that turns into like...
Yeah,
I
would
just realized I
essentially
farted loud enough that probably came across my mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, I will consensually catcall my male friends
Oh yeah.
at events and just be like, "Hey, you're amazing." You just see that other person like stand up taller and like go through their day, and you're just like, "Oh, that makes me feel good. That made you feel good. Like, let's just do this."
Like,
I don't want to see your squishy bits. I just want you to feel better.
Yeah. So I would like a mating dance with gluten-free Oreos in the future, like and now I realize this is gonna happen, and I am just gonna sit there and be like,
I'm just imagining a line of gentles outside your tent with gluten-free Oreos doing like some sort of like choreographed dance.
that is never
You'll
happening.
get snacks. So
I mean,
There is
either
nothing
way,
sexy
you'll get
than
snacks or snacks.
snacks are snacks. Something is going in somebody's mouth. Baby Ninja just announced 5 dick jokes. All right, Zahra, the next question is yours.
Yes, it is. All right. Ready?
Ready.
Weirdest sex noise you have heard at an event. Do not name names.
Ooh. I have definitely sat with the rest of the barony of my heart and listened to a threesome. And then there was EK 50 year where my entire household was like, that tent across the way appears to be doing shadow puppets. And they're doing a great job. Let's all just sit in a semicircle and watch that tent. But they were quiet. The threesome was not. We were just really proud because they just like at EK 50 year, they were like changing positions all the time. We were just like, we really want to like praise you, but not make this weird for you to know that we're watching. Weirdest sex noise. There definitely have been some like velociraptor-esque sounds that have happened in the night.
Wait,
And you like pretend like if you're going through the event, like, I'm sure here in the woods of Middle Maine there are velociraptors, and that is what I am hearing, and not what is happening in that very brightly lit up tent with what I believe is more than 2 people who all seem to be consenting, so good on them. Because we don't kink shame here. We just walk away.
I'm just now imagining people with like, like the little velociraptor hands that you can get, and that being involved in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good on you if that's your thing. Like, I have worked as a assistant for someone who does custom clothing, and that means going to a lot of different conventions, and sometimes that's sci-fi conventions, and sometimes that's New England Leather Alliance's Fetish Flea, which has the best people watching in 3 states. And you're just like, and I used to be weirded out by people who did like pony play. And then you met the people who did pony play, and you're just like, oh, you're so happy being ponies. I can't take this from you. You're just so excited about this. I can't yuck your yum. Like, go on and do it. Like, go forth and be a pony.
Also, are you a 7-figure lawyer? Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty sure there's like a Chuck Tingle novel or 10 about velociraptor.
Oh, God. There was one couple who came in, and they looked like, like Chip and Buffy from the Country Club. And then she takes off her little, like, Ann Taylor loft sweater, and there's like this rhinestone chainmail bustier underneath, and you're like, oh, y'all like to get weird. Let's get you tied up. So yeah, velociraptor noise. Anyone else?
So would you guys like moose sounds, the coyote call, or the bed break?
Do you even have moose on the West Coast?
Yeah, that one. Moose. Meese.
You want moose?
Meese.
I mean, so it's moose, or it's many moose meeson.
It's meese. I refuse to believe otherwise.
It's moose. Don't make my New Englander get up.
So you need to watch Kunihild's video on why moose is also plural, and not like geese. Because goose geese, it should be moose meese.
I'm only saying this to encourage her to explode.
Yeah, it's many moose meeson. So I actually know who is making this sound. And we're walking by a camp and we hear, ugh. 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 And then you're like, we're not in Alaska. Because that's what a moose sounds like. They are very high pitched, or they make these little like sounds. And so at this point in time, my little like brain that has watched way too much Discovery Channel and visited Alaska starts like calling back. Like, I'm just that asshole. Because you can hear him grunting. Ugh. Ugh. I'm like, man, you gotta pick up your cadence. Like, is that all the grunts? Is it a grunt, a thrust, or is there a thrust in between where you're like inhaling? Because right now that's really slow.
Yeah, it's like pull-ups. Like, what is the
Yeah, I'm like, are you like picking her up and putting her back down on you? Like, is that what this sound is? Because it's literally that.
Or are you by yourself? That's okay too.
No, he was totally not by himself. I know. And it was just like I had to start being like, back, because at this point in time, my little asshole Discovery brain is like, if the mating call is made back, do they increase cadence? Like,
I have to save my brethren. We're gonna move.
I must save the woman who I know is under that.
Girl, what would you have done if it was an actual fucking moose? And then like some moose is just like, hey. Like,
So
what?
I'm sorry,
What?
if a moose ever hey girls hey you just leave. Those fuckers are dangerous AF. Like, I would rather deal with wolves than deal with a moose that's like, bitch, you're sexy.
And stop moose calling.
Like, if a moose is totally like, sup, motherfucker, you are like, you are not a pretty bird with a shiny rock making a mating dance at me. You are a very large mammal that is about to fuck me up in like the worst way ever. They can't even make a porn out of this.
Get up a tree, get in a vehicle, but get the fuck away from that
Fuck
moose.
away. Like, if a moose really is interested in you, leave the scene. That is 2,000 pounds of will jack your ass up.
If I'm in a position where I'm in danger from moose, I have already erred. Like, mistakes were already made. This bitch does not do things that lead to that. That is aggressively Caucasian. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't.
Did you just say that's aggressively Caucasian?
I'm sorry. I don't.
Not wrong.
I just, it's never been a concern. Like, sorry, I don't know shit about animals anyway. I probably wouldn't even know what the hell was going on.
Oh no, moose is, you would know a moose. It's like a horse on steroids. They're big.
I don't want to know.
Huge.
They're huge. We saw one once coming back from an event, and it was like a mile down the road and the person driving, Baroness Simona Botleone, goes, "Oh, there's a horse." And it was like, that's not a horse, and that's way further away than you think it is, and we need to stop now. Because the danger of the moose is the moose are so tall that you hit those spindly little legs and their body goes right through that window and kills you.
Mm-hmm.
No, just no.
Don't fuck with moose.
No.
Anyway,
So I'm now wondering, Zahra, what's your weirdest sex noise you've heard? Because now you're just stuck
Not
on.
This slow ass. I really would critique at that point and be like, dude, 3 out of 10. Come on. Anyway, so I'm walking around with my fella at war. I don't even know like what camp we were at, so that makes it very easy to keep this anonymous. But you hear this like collection of whimpering, and it kind of sounds like puppies. And I was like, oh, like puppies, like adorable. Because it was just really high pitched and very squeaky, and it sounded like multiple. And then you hear a rhythmic. And I was like, that's someone clapping cheeks. So no, probably not puppies. And I want to say that Nim's comment was something along the lines of like, well, at least they're giving themselves a round of applause. I was for a little bit. I think I was drunk, but for a little bit, I'm like, oh my god, puppies! Like, oh no, nay.
Oh god, there was an event that was where somebody was getting their like fake orgasming to their hair being pulled, and it was just so obnoxious the entire event. We were just like, girl. I'm not attracted to women at all, but I just want to explain to you what a real orgasm sounds like. Like, this is a service that I feel like I can provide.
The dude that is like taken with a fake orgasm that's so bad they're like, okay, hang on, I'm sorry, it sounds like you're strangling a dolphin right now, okay? Like, we got a fucking problem. This should not sound like you are trying to rescue a bottlenose dolphin off the beach while also tackling it, okay? We have a fucking problem here. Stop watching so much porn. Like, we need to do some education. There's some books you need to read, and then you're going to experience the real thing, because it should not sound like like, that's not how this works. She is faking it, motherfucker.
Oh my god. Yeah, don't do that. Don't fake orgasms.
This is where we just have people start unsubscribing from the show.
Yeah, sorry. Seriously, don't fake orgasms. You're not helping them. You're not helping you. Like, don't do it. If you need to get in there and give directions, give directions. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. Also, okay. I will tell you, if your lover is not emotionally mature enough to take direction, kick them right out of their bed. Be like, your shoes are by the door for a reason, motherfucker. Like, be emotionally mature enough to take feedback so you can fuck your lover right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sex is not one size fits all. So like yeah, my ex loved this. I'm like, what are you? Stop. No.
Oh god, the button mashing.
Oh my god. I need some rhythm, my dude. I need some rhythm. Like,
no, you can't just do that. Like, some vehicles need to be warmed up for a while before you can floor it.
Like, just Jesus Christ. Like, ask. If you're not sure, fucking ask. Be like, hey, so are you ready for this thing that I wish to present you? Like, my man sausage is ready. And like, you can be like, sorry, not prepped yet. Go back down there.
Yep. Manaconda too soon.
Yeah, like, for reals, right? Like, I'm sorry, just jamming it in there does not get the fucking job done. Ever. Like,
you want me to be excited when you whip it out. Like, if you whip it out and I'm like, all right, like, that's not what you want. You want me to be like impressed and maybe like a little bit of trepidation of like what's gonna happen with that. Like, but not a like, oh, all right.
Hell yes. You want a hell yes. And you gotta get the hell yes. And that is on both people. That is on both people involved, though. Like, he's gonna be like ready for that, and you've got to be like, oh, I need just like a little bit more time. And this thing called foreplay, you may have heard of it once. They don't do it much in the porn, but we're gonna need to do this. And also, like, stop jacking it like it owes you money. Like,
right? Also, like, there's the weird thing of like, here's okay. Soapbox right now. I would like to note a big dick doesn't get it done. Okay, like, this is the thing. Like, it doesn't matter how big your dick is if you have no skills. one of the things about like sleeping with a guy that has an average to slightly smaller cock, they've actually got fucking skills because they have learned how to use the fucking tool they have been given with this universe. And one of the things is, I will tell you that a big dick is 100% replaceable with any fucking toy on the market. I guarantee I can Amazon something with more fucking like girth than you own, motherfucker. Like, how about use the tool? Because I can buy something with more personality than what you're currently presenting, asshole. Like,
Because your hip ain't ever gonna rotate. Like,
yeah, just do you vibrate at 1,000 RPMs? No. Like, maybe learn how to use that. Like, engage the brain a little bit. Now, doesn't matter what you're packing. Like, let's roll. I'm gonna break your fucking hips like the Amazon warrior that has not been laid in years. Like, fuck off. Like, there's things. Like, get me engaged. I will break your hips. I will leave your quad sore and you wondering what the fucking hell hit you. Like, I don't give a fuck. But if you're just like, I have this thing, I'm like, yeah, you bore me, motherfucker.
and also like clitoral stimulation. You need to do it. Like, you can't just imagine that, like, oh, I stick it in and she comes. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Like 70% of women need clitoral stimulation. Just freaking do it.
It's true. There's too many guys that will show up with like the just meh, and they're like, I am here and I've brought it, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know, like I guess they expect you to just be like, oh, my throat is bored. Like, no, come on, man, you got to do more work, you got to put more in. This is not enough for me.
Just a sousson of effort. That's all I want.
Well, and I'm also gonna go, that goes for like guys and girls. That's in anything. Is like both parties a little bit of effort, real fucking hot. This is an exponential equation at this point in time. Like, little bit of effort, both parties, fucking insane. Like, little bit of effort, one party, probably gonna be satisfactory-ish, maybe, kind of. No effort, both parties. Why are you doing this? Like, literally, my vibrator has more personality because I can imagine other things. And I have a smartphone with a screen this big. Like, really? Like, everybody asks, hey, why are smartphones getting so big like these days? Because we're getting older, our eyesight sucks, and we still want to watch porn.
Okay, but that's still not an excuse to have like your like half cookie sheet. Just like, on, man.
I mean,
What?
I like how Fortune's like, what did I sign up for?
no. This is like, sometimes Bob Dylan needs to go electric and you need a little help, but
I mean, sometimes you gotta go all the way to that wall plug where you're like, batteries ain't gonna survive this fucking mood.
wear battery. It's all right with me. Anyway, so we're still in the kitty game question, huh?
I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know if our audience is having fun. I hope they're having fun. Like,
Everyone in the audience is just horrified. They're like,
they're just right now like, what the fuck are we watching? So,
And this
with that,
evening,
are you ready for the next question? Actually, wait. Sorry. Oh no, you said the puppies. So
Puppies.
the next question. Historical thing, toy or position that you've read about, sex-wise, that you wish to try.
All right, there's definitely something in the Kama Sutra that is like climbing the tree, which sounds very intriguing. I'm also a huge proponent of foreplay, so I teach a class on the history of kissing. Notes on gildedkisses.com. Gildedkisses.com. And there are definitely some like foreplay kisses where like you only touch the bottom lips and you touch hands. Love that stuff. Love it. Positions. I would love, okay, so there's this, okay, so see, I told you I was going to do it.
oh, I missed it.
Yep. See, I'm very used to picking up my own verbal crutches. There's this series of sexual positions that we get in Italy in the 1500s called the emoti. space MODI, the positions, the ways. Originally, they're thought to have been on a bishop's banquet hall and have been painted as frescoes on a bishop's banquet hall and have been famous courtesans and their lovers. They then get done as, I can't remember the name of the guy who does the engravings, but he does a set of engravings and he does them of the different positions. And this is our Western European Kama Sutra for ages. These are your different positions that you do. And there's definitely like a wheelbarrow one that I'm a little intrigued by. And I said that my quarantine project was going to be actually doing the etchings of the emotes, so I had hangings for my encampment. That didn't happen. Maybe it will this summer. But they go through all these different positions. So the first time they get published, the Vatican rounds up all the copies and burns them. And they put the guy who did the engravings in jail.
I mean, I totally want to go through that like page by page at this point in time.
Right. So you want to be like, I'd like the number 5. Thank you.
Yeah.
This evening. Which is kind of why I want them as hangings for my camp. And so when he gets out of jail, there's this guy named Pietro Arantini, who is a courtier and a poet and a playwright. His mom was a courtesan. The dude is like Teflon. Nothing sticks to him. He's like, cool, so I know you have these positions. I'm going to write a poem about each of these positions. Turns out, Renaissance Italians, really into the butt stuff, read these poems. They're into anal. Who knew it went back that far? But there are poems now that go with everything. And the Vatican's like, holy shit, we told you not to publish these. They get most of the copies back. Arantini gets yelled at. The other guy gets tarred and feathered and killed, unfortunately. But these images are out there. There are counterfeit copies of the emote, and they're out there for generations. And they update a little bit in the positions and the accessories. Excuse me, they update a little bit in the like outfits and the accessories, but the positions stay the same. And there's like these 16 positions that the Western world thinks of as sex until we get the Kama Sutra way late. And like the original copy gets then translated by this guy in the 1800s who wanted the Napoleon guys. They're fantastic. Look them up. But definitely there's like a wheelbarrow-y one that looks really intriguing that involves a couple like bolster pillows and faith. And that looks like a great time. But yeah, I would love to go through all of the emote eventually, someday, with a willing partner. Oh, and the British have the only complete or mostly complete copies. And the British very helpfully in the Victorian era. Oh, the Massachusetts is coming out. Might be getting drunk. They cut out all of the like naughty bits. So you get like an arm and a leg and some corners of these original woodcuts and these original engravings that are out there. I think it's the V&A who has them. But yeah, they very carefully cut them all up so that you didn't see the naughty bits. But I would love to go through all the emote.
I love it.
No fun.
I don't know a ton about like different like historical, like I know a fair amount about the Kama Sutra. That wheelbarrow thing you mentioned, not for me, because I like no, I'm regularly I like Prego jars. Like I have no upper body strength. That's not gonna be cute for me. I can squat for days. Like anything with the lower body, like I'm good. Anything upper body, I'm weak, and the only swole I get is bloated. Like I can't do this.
I was about to say, so this is a reason to start doing push-ups now, so you can fuck like that.
I mean, like I don't feel like the wheelbarrow is what I need to make my life complete. Like I'm sorry. Like there's so much other joy to be had. Like
true.
I feel like the wheelbarrow is gonna be my hinge, but like so the Kama Sutra is actually like everything referenced within it is just amazing to me, because like this is really the world's first sex education, and ancient India is really the first place that takes sex in this kind of like, well, we know you're all fucking, so like this is for everybody to talk about and to learn about. Vatsyayana, not drunk yet, still got it, creates this text that, I mean, even today would be remarkably subversive, right? Because it's a text that often empowers women. Like, if you're not being satisfied by your partner, get you another partner. And again, we're talking about a region of the world where there's polygamy, but there's also polyandry in some of the more remote Himalayan areas. And so really like promoting group sex, poly relationships, open relationships. This is remarkably outside of its time. And the idea that the sex education is available to everyone, even if like, okay, so as with all things, like the rich people are off having more fun than everybody who's like, I gotta do some field shit. I'm not trying to get freaky for the next 4 hours.
At the end of the day, I'm fucking tired.
Right. But still, the education is open to everybody, and this is really unique, which is just so cool to me. And later, I know that there's another text that somebody comes in and they're like, more about men. And so there's another text that like follows it up, and it's basically very focused on men and men's pleasure, whereas the Kama Sutra is very much about both. But so the kind of tantric, the ritualistic sex that arises out of this, that explores things from more of a philosophical perspective, one of like wholeness, and it's not always just about sex. That shit is super interesting to me. Like that to me is just so interesting, to take the idea of sensuality and connect it to like an inner divinity. Like that to me is so cool, and it's so unique, especially just for like this era of time, because we just don't have anything like it anywhere else for a very long time. And sex education actually goes backwards from that point for a long time, like some places still now. So
yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, we have been going 2.5 hours at this point in time. Like, we have blown through 2.5 hours. So I'm going to wrap this show up with one last question.
Whoops.
And amusingly enough, Zahra, that's yours.
Okay. A historical character that you would totes bang.
Oh. All right, do we have to stick to SCA period or beyond SCA period?
No, you can pick any.
Oh. Like, I'm sure it's mostly propaganda in his own mind, but Casanova. Like, you just gotta see how it was. Like, you gotta see if the hype lives up to the expectation. The man talks about losing his virginity in bed with 2 sisters. And like, his whole jam was like, the reason women kept falling at his feet was because like their pleasure comes first. Oh, okay. Sure. All right. Oh no, don't do this to me. Like,
yeah, that pitch would work now.
Like, exactly. Like, no, like, you come first. Oh, okay. Sure. When can you be over? Are you vaccinated? So yeah, it would definitely be Giacomo Casanova. Like, he it would definitely be him. I think of all, because I'm unfortunately, like, and this has been mentioned to me many times by beautiful, wonderful pansexual human friends of mine, like, why are you so straight? And I'm like, look, it's not a choice. Like, if I could choose something other than heterosexual men, I would. But sadly, you don't do it for me.
I mean, you're like, are you vaccinated? Like,
I mean, right now it's pretty much, are you vaccinated? Do you have a pulse?
I mean, so in fairness, please remember that several states promoted the use of glory holes at the beginning of the pandemic.
Right.
Please remember that this is a real thing that
Discussion at
really
textbook
happens
club.
in this country.
On like, if it's plexiglass in a glory hole, is it still the same experience as a regular glory hole, or is it just protection?
Well, and it's a respiratory virus, right? So like, does that just mean that like you just can't like face to face? Like if I'm like, hey, like you should sit on my face because then I can't touch it, helps stop the spread of COVID-19. Not all heroes wear capes, right? Like, does that work? Is that a thing?
Dear Anthony Fauci, I have questions.
I would like to note that I'm just going to say right now, years from now, our SCA career people are going to be like, were you on that episode?
Oh no.
Like, that's what's going to fucking happen.
I don't know why I'm not a pelican. I can't imagine why I'm not a pelican.
Yeah, historical character.
Oh, a historical character that I would bang, Cleopatra. Like, holy crap, that woman had a rep. So it's kind of totally like Casanova in this point. She literally had the nickname Golden Mouth, like with consent and everything else like that. I want to know.
Yeah, like, who comes up with the sexy idea of like, yeah, I had myself rolled up in a rug and then presented to him? Like, that is some balls.
Right?
And just like, I would like, that is someone who is going to be good giving in game for whatever you're up for.
Oh yeah, no, that's somebody that like 100% defines a service top that I just want to like, and a brat at the same time. So like, little service toppy, a little bratty. I just want to like conquer that motherfucking shit. So yeah.
She did that bee swarm vibrator though, and that is a level of danger I don't need introduced to my sex life.
10 out of 10 would 100% watch that.
Would you do it though?
I mean, at that point in time, that was innovation at that point in time. The woman needs satisfaction and a little bit of danger. She needed to be scare-roused. She figured out how to do it. Like, 100%. That is a level of, like, scare-roused I'm fucking into. Again, 10 years down the road. Were you on that episode? Oh, yeah. Baby Ninja's trying to tap out behind the scenes. He's like, no, I just can't fucking do this.
You've definitely had worse episodes than this.
The man who provided the tent for Sex Island is trying to tap out here. Okay.
Is your mic hot right now? It should be. So, Zahra, what is a historical character that you would totes bang given consent?
So I knew this question was coming, right? And I was like,
coming.
Just so many. Unfortunately, this question is coming in a way that I would not be with everyone I could think of, because I'm just like, all of these people are so. But so I'm gonna go earlier, and I'm gonna say Nefertiti. Because I like me a boss ass bitch.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea that she just kind of rolled up and was like, all right, like I'll take over. That's cool. And I understand that like it is questionable, whatever. But I'm gonna believe the headcanon that I have, and no one will tell me differently. And also I'm really into like the Egyptian clothes. Like again, if the girls could self-suspend a little better, they're doing their best.
Oh God, right? Like Egyptians just not an option. No. But like also Hatshepsut, the female pharaoh, like that is a woman who is going to like, she knows what she wants. She's gonna get it anywhere. Yep.
I'm about it.
I mean, that's way better than my original answer, which is like, give me some hot, random, tall, blonde as fuck Viking, like in period, right after he's bathed. So, like, I want to see what a Viking warrior fucks like. Like, are you right off the boat and you've had a bath? Let's roll.
I know too much now. Like, I've destroyed myself for historical fantasy because I'm like, people used to brush their teeth with urine, so I'm not hella into anyone from this time.
Well, that's when you walk up, you're like, here's a modern day toothbrush and toothpaste. There's the shower. We're bamfing you into my timeline. Shower,
is that how it works?
real toothbrush, scrub your balls, wash your fucking balls. Because we're about to throw down.
Like, because I'm like a huge fan of romance novels, and it's always in the time traveling romance novels. It's always like the sexy Viking warrior or the handsome knight. And it's never the fat, balding privy digger who gets rocketed through time.
Right? Like, I wanted to write that, like, that very bad romance porn where it's like some rando peasant that gets shot forward and all of a sudden discovers, like, showers, but also because of, like, current status is like, let me serve you, my lady. And I've discovered toothpaste. Like, that right there is a book somebody should write, because that dude will be down to fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I would take, like, like, you're thinking in the fantasy times, like any Scottish blacksmith of any time period. Like,
yeah, but you're gonna have to, like, take them and scruff them and, like, wash them a lot. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, this is like dunk, 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 scrub, 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 scrub. Okay, like, you've got the
like
first
there is
layer
no
of dirt
Mr.
off
Clean
you.
magic eraser that's gonna get you.
Fucking just Mr. Clean shows up. I'm here for the threesome.
I need a clean culture, and I need broad shoulders. Yeah, maybe some long hair. Anyway.
Are you fresh out of a bath in period? You're the one I'm stealing in my timeline. Like...
Imagine like the dial sexual partner.
Yeah, he was like scrolling through the bait. Oh, that one's fresh out of the bath. Blick, boink.
Can you imagine the horror though of just like, what the hell is everyone wearing here? Like, you have some shit to overcome.
I know, right? They show up and they're like, oh my god, your ankles.
It's not even your ankles. It's like why is there fire on the ceiling of the room?
No, they would be like, where are your red taffeta drawers? Like, what is this?
Where are your red taffeta drawers, Marie de Medici? Like, slashes and everything.
Just watch one of the dudes bamfed over holding up some like lacy thong. Like, what is this magic?
Okay, so one of my absolute favorite I think it's a Regency. So early condoms made out of sheep's gut, right? Resuscitated in milk if you could find it. Sometimes in canal water if you were real desperate. Thanks, Pepis. But they were held on by a silk ribbon. And one of my absolute favorite Regency authors wrote a sex scene where he comes out all very proud in his period condom with the silk ribbon, and she just loses her shit. She's like, it has a bow on it. Like, you want to fuck me? And it's got a little red silk bow on it. Like, we have to talk. So yes, like,
I'm sorry, can you imagine, like, in period, like, somebody shows up here and you're like, oh yeah, condoms come in a box. Yeah, and they're just like, how many sheep did you sacrifice for this? Like, oh no, this is called latex. You just like pull it and snap it back. You're like, pink, like, brought you some magic, motherfucker. This is also like, don't reuse this. Do not wash this and then put it back on your dick. This is a one-time use item.
Yeah. One of the things we've learned from Sex Book Club is, like, in the early period of condoms, like, you went somewhere and they were bespoke. Like, someone measured you for one, and then that was your condom. Like, yeah,
into that.
They advertised them and everything. You went and someone was like, all right, we need to find the intestine that's going to fit you, Cornelius.
I'm sorry, did they have fluffers at this moment in time? Because it's not like you're going to measure soft. So there's got to be somebody there that is going to get you, like, raging hard for the right, like, measurement. Like, do you take your girl with you? You're like, oh, go behind the curtain and, like, you two can service each other for a moment so we can get the correct measurement, sir. Like, how the fuck does that work?
You might. like, you might. And then, like, so this is the thing that I forgot to mention earlier that I actually bookmarked in preparation for this episode. But there was definitely a woman named Catharina Katharina Herzeldorfer, Germany in 1477. This woman, I love her. She's my hero. Created her own strap-on out of red leather and was across the town fucking bitches. And like, they weren't mad that she had created a strap-on. They were mad that she was taking the men's role. And that's what she was on trial for. Like,
we're not mad. We just wish we thought of it.
Right?
But it was like, she had come up with this whole thing. She had stuffed it with cotton. She'd put in a wooden dowel on it. She had a way that it tied on. And they were like, we're mad that you were fucking like a man. That's the part we're mad about. And then they drown her. It's not a happy ending, but
No,
God love her. She had a great time while it was going forth before they caught her.
Okay, so before we go to the after show chat, you need to look up the band called the Wet Spots and look up Texas Annie. It is one of my favorite songs, but it is 100% around basically a lesbian being like, and it is great because it actually it brings in all the U.S. states that have made sex toys illegal, and basically instead of a gun runner, she's a dildo runner, and it is fucking amazing. Everybody go look up that song and listen to it. It is brilliant.
I have a question before we finish. Bespoke condoms.
Yes.
Are these bitches reusable?
Yeah. The early condoms, the only thing they're preventing is impregnation. They're not, they are filtering, they are not fully preventative. So there's sheep's gut. You're going to resuscitate it because it's going to dry out in between every use. It's not sexy, I'm sorry.
I'm just imagining like you put it outside to dry, and then like before you're like, okay, cool, this is how foreplay works, is like we now resuscitate this, and by the time the condom is resuscitated, then thy pussy shall be ready. Like, yeah,
unfortunately,
I have to put a child warning label on this episode.
Let me rehydrate my condom in this milk.
Yeah, so usually it was done. Usually you rehydrate it in milk because water not that reliable in the 1700s. So you're going to do it in milk, which is going to lead to a yeast infection, but whatever. Like, it's not a baby. It's not a baby. But the only thing it's going to prevent is pregnancy. It's not going to prevent any STIs.
I just thought the ribbon was cute. Like, just a little, ribbon, like a little bow on it. Like, which I understand is not what dudes want, right? Like, you want it to be like formidable, and I'm sure that you don't want to whip it out and have me be like, oh my God, it's so pretty. Like, I
mean, we're talking about the 1700s here. So men are wearing high heels and the knee socks and the breeches and the swishy frock coats. So
I would like to note this is actually the period where they are the bird making the mating dance at women. They're like, look, it's my tailcoat. Like, let me hold up my tailcoat for you.
Favor.
Like, yeah. So
you fuck a guy, ribbon, right?
So there's definitely a dude who talks about like he has an addiction to finding, lowborn women and prostitutes. And so he has the condom and he would like to not be just, fucking random women under bridges, but this is like what he wants. So there's definitely a point where he's like, and I just like was resuscitating it in canal water because I just really needed to fuck a bitch.
Oh,
yeah. And he ended up with syphilis because that's what happens, because it doesn't prevent any STIs.
He didn't end up with syphilis. He earned syphilis. Okay.
Yeah, he was fucking with tadpoles and shit. Like, you
don't want a canal water in London. It's just not going to work out for you. It's just not.
I mean, I feel sorry for those like the lowborn women and prostitutes where I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, one of y'all needs to like give him something fucking terrible that makes that rot off.
Yeah, mercury.
Right? So, with that, we've been going for almost 3 hours because apparently we're wordy and having fun. So, I'm going to wrap up the show. This has been an absolute fucking delight. Like, Amazing. I've had an amazing time with the two of you guys, and I want to say thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the audience who's been playing along in the chat. The chat's been hilarious tonight. Holy crap. I'm sorry that we haven't gotten to your questions. I will see if maybe Fortune and Zahra are willing to come back and do a bonus episode so we can get back to all these sassy sex questions. And we'll go from there. But with that, so we're going to do the wrap up of the show. Remember the likes, like and follow. That totally helps us keep going. But Fortune, do you have anything that you would like to shout out that's going on currently?
All right. So I love watching Ask the Knights. I absolutely love them, your sister show. Love watching them. Watched them last night as I'm like sitting there at my Pokestop trying to catch something. Watching them on YouTube. I'm also a huge fan of Costume. So if you're not watching Costuming YouTube, I have an eternal love and devotion to Morgan Donner out of Vontier that cannot be extinguished. I love that woman. But there are a ton of amazing people who are on YouTube doing costuming content that you need to check out. Enchanted Rose Costumes, Costuming Drama, Pincent Tailoring, any of those folks. Scraps and Sequins, love that girl, she's SCA as well. DSA Threads, she's also SCA. Like, watch those, they're amazing. I get such inspiration. That's the one great bonus for quarantine for me, is I have discovered Costuming YouTube. And I love them. Great shout out to them.
Zahra?
So Gigi, who has been on the show, Giada, has a Costumers of Color. I think it's called Costuming in Color, actually. Which is awesome, and people should watch it. She's also doing this like hiking series, which I'm like kind of into in a like, she's great and I love supporting her, and then kind of not, because I'm like, well, that's a lot of nature. But it's super cool to watch someone kind of get started in a new hobby and hear her like work through. Yeah, Moose, not about it. And then I'm gonna kind of like self-plug a little bit. So the DEI office does a lot of stuff. We do things. There's panels coming up.
Fuck you for stealing my plug.
You were gonna plug me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can finish the rest of it. That's fine, I guess. Actually, I'd rather hear you talk about me than me talk about me. But DEI stuff. Go ahead.
So I've got two plugs tonight. My first plug is I'm gonna live from Keyne. They are the one show that has been going on longer than Between Two Peers, and they do an amazing amount of stuff of like Kingdom announcements. They have a Bardic highlight. Both hosts are absolutely energetic and hilariously fun. Check out Live from Keyne. You can go to the Keyne Facebook page, the Keyne Kingdom Facebook page. They just live stream it directly to that. But check it out. Like, it's a great way to get to know people from around the known world. And so spend a little bit of time watching their content and giving them some props, because they are continuing to make amazing content throughout the pandemic. The second one that Zahra fucking stole is because she's on the show and our guest was like, let's talk about some DEI topics. And we didn't really get to that. We were all like having a rowdy time. And so we wanted to keep going with that. I want to plug the Zahra and the DEI group and those that involved are doing some amazing things within the SCA to address some of the systemic problems that we have and making us better. Also, I'm going to see if I can make Zahra blush a little bit. She's putting out content that is consumable, easy to understand, and is always available to answer questions. And this is where I'm just going to say that she has made me a better knight by the amount of time that she's invested in me and understanding these topics. So I will say, reach out to your DEI officers. If you want to know or get involved, if you're worried that you're crossing a line or a boundary, or you just don't understand a topic that's coming out, reach out to them. They're a huge source that's making the SCA better. And I'll tell you, I wasn't perfect and I'm still not perfect. And these people are giving their lives to the SCA to make us better. Please use that resource. Look at their content. Spend the time to make yourself better, so the SCA, when we come back, is stronger, more inclusive, and more amazing than it already was.
Can I say another thing? I'm so sorry. Bridget and I are doing a series where we are interviewing people at the corporate level, other corporate officers, and the members of the bod. So we are going to be talking to the new director-elect Dale on Sunday. Just
sweet.
That is the thing.
Pimp that on the Between Two Peers server.
Okay.
So
I love that, man. I'm excited you get to, but like the DAI content, somebody today was having like a moment on Facebook talking about like, you know, they're just hit that wall in the pandemic where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the SCA. And I was like, look, the DEI stuff that's coming out, diversity, equity, inclusion stuff is what is giving me hope that we're going to be a better SCA coming out of this. And Zahra, you're a huge part of that. And I love you.
Oh, hi.
So now that we've all had the love fest on Zahra after talking sex all evening, just want to say thank you all so much for continuing to watch the show. Thank you for continuing to support, like, share, and follow. It gives us that little happy emotional boost. And then beyond that, when this show makes over 100 likes, I send a box of doggo treats to Baby Ninja. And with that, next week, Sassy will be returning as my amazing co-host, and we are interviewing Viscount Leon, who is old school as fuck and hilarious. You want to talk about like the dirt digging up on the SCA from old times? Bring that on. Let's go. We're having those conversations. So we'll see y'all next week, and thank you so much. Have a good night.